Oh, because I unmuted the wrong channel. Yay.
See, this is what we were talking about earlier.
That was just a warm-up.
We were actually discussing before this started. It's like, oh, we're here 20 minutes early and everything's working. This will be fine for once.
It was just a warm-up. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can do it all again.
Yeah. This time, user error, though. My mic was open, though, so hey, I don't have to do my spiel again. The 10-second version. Shane.
Trastel is part bard, part warlock. He mostly thinks he's a bard, but he has a dark craziness to the back of his mind that occasionally reveals itself to be a warlock.
Nice. Chris.
Rugan. Arakota monk.
Nice.
Elemental monk.
Nice. Patrick.
Mort Harding, High Inquisitor Mort Harding, Wild Hunt Shifter, Grave Cleric.
Hunter of Necromancers.
Yes.
And finally, and for the full speech, because someone told me I screwed up before we got to, Enya.
Right. So yeah, I'm Enya. I'm also based in Berlin. This is my second character ever. So her name is Peanut. She's a gnome from the forest. She's a moon druid. And honestly, she's so old, she doesn't even remember how old she is. She's definitely nearing, closer to the last third of her lifetime than the first 2/3. So, she's small and a bit frail looking, but she has some punch in her.
Nice. So, we are going to be starting our arc with a little adventure called Mind Your Head. By the author Steve Pankotai. He's got a lot of work up on DM's Guild. I'll post a link to it on our Twitter after this. You can also find him on Twitter at Steven Pankotai. That's with the V, Steven Pankotai. Good Lord, letters are hard. So, that's what we'll be starting today. And without any further ado and procrastination on my part, let's get to it. Right, sound. Da, da, da. I know what I'm doing. Tourmaline.
Music.
Tourmaline is a part of 10 towns. It's a conglomeration of towns that are clustered around 3 lakes of the Icewind Dale. It's an area that is far to the north of the Sword Coast, in and around the mountain range known as the Spine of the World. It cold. It's not called the Icewind Dale for nothing. Tourmaline itself is located on the largest lake, the Mare Dweldon. It's the 3rd largest city, after close rivals Targos and Bryn Shander. It's considered one of the most beautiful towns in 10 towns and is known for artwork like the scrimshaw done on fish bones taken from the lake, as well as gems. It's one of the few areas in 10 towns that is known for mining with a nearby gem mine. So there's lots of jewelers and craftsmen that live and work in the area. Of course, with this comes the slight risk of incursions from the Underdark, things that come out of the mines besides gems. But they're used to it. Like other areas in 10 towns, they're perfectly fine with hiring the occasional adventurer to take care of those minor nuisances. You 4 have all found your way here for various reasons. Mort and Trustle. Mort, you had a dream recently. The god you follow, Jurgal, the record keeper of the dead, if you will. You just see a scroll that's slowly being filled in with a name, date, cause of death, name, date, cause of death. A record of the dead. Well known to you and your order. What's interesting is lines start appearing. Name, date, Question mark. Name, date, question mark. Picking out one or two of those names leads you to start investigating the Tin Towns areas for signs of what might be happening there that's unusual. Rugon and Peanut. On your travels, Peanut, looking for a cure for whatever disease or plague is running through your forest. You hear whispers of an herbalist, not herbalist, herbologist, that studies plants, there we go, that is working up in the Tin Towns area. So you're heading up there to try and make contact with them, see if they have anything that might be able to help you. Through this, both of your little duos find yourself in a inn known as East Side in Tourmaline. It's a well-known inn in the area, large, comfortable, one of the better places there. The innkeep, Clyde Bernard, well known in town, welcomes you all. Asks a little bit about your travels and why you are there, which you answer to a certain degree of honesty before leaving you to your business. And that is where we'll pick up. It is a little bit in the afternoon at this point. And the four of you at two separate tables at this point are enjoying an afternoon lunch after your travels. What would you like to do?
I think I just like pick up pieces of flesh and tear at them with my beak.
Nice.
How are you enjoying your food? I see. I agree.
Mord, I've traveled many places in my time, but I've never seen strange creatures as I've seen now in this room.
Yep.
Certainly you haven't traveled very far then.
Well, I'm still young, but I try my best. And, well, have you seen something like, what's that winged thing over there?
That is a bird.
And Rugon, why don't you describe what they see? Like, what do you look like?
I'm a brown, not actually, well, large for a bird, but not that large, about 4'9", something like that. Actually, I did write this down exactly, but 4'8". Brown feathers. I wear very loose. I do actually wear clothing, but it's very loose green. I have a pack and various things around me and a club. Yeah.
Okay.
That's I have arms. It's very strange. I have arms, but also have wings and clawed feet and clawed hands. But I sit in chairs and I'm sat next to a gnome. Actually, I'm not that tall, so we're probably not massively different in height, but
Enough. So this town and Tin Towns and Icewind Dale in general is mostly inhabited by humans. So our Aarakocra definitely does stick out to the two of you, as well as the gnome sitting next to him.
I'm a solid 2 feet.
Wow.
So my neck does hurt a bit from looking up all the time, but it comes with the age. I'm not complaining. I'm just enjoying having a companion who doesn't feel the need to talk all the time.
probably means you can actually ride on me every now and then if you like.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Well, that took about 2 minutes into the adventure for you to figure that out. Okay.
I was counting on it.
Oh, yeah, waiting for that. So as you're staring at these two figures, Clyde comes up to your table, Peanut, and Rugon. So everything to your liking.
Nah, bit overcooked.
We made it rare like you asked for. Is it still... I can take it back.
I've got like half a steak hanging out my beak. Like, nah.
Or perhaps we could get you another.
Okay, sounds good.
And you, Mistress Gnome.
I would like some tea, please.
A tea, of course. Turns and looks at the other table and to check on you. And you, gentlemen. Mort, what does he see when he looks over at you?
He sees a man in his early 50s with a salt and pepper haircut. Well, sort of like Doctor Strange, but with a more receding hairline.
Okay.
And a large handlebar mustache that looks kind of similar in color. I'm wearing a shiny mithril half plate and the amethyst colored cloak. And leaning on the table next to me is a winged staff with a large globe and an eagle shield with an eye painted on it.
Nice.
I'm also wearing like a gold circlet that sort of like puts my hair back a little bit more. And if you check a little closer, my left hand looks withered, almost skeletal. Overall, his skin looks like in a really bad shape, sort of like not very vital, if you will. That's the obvious things you can figure out just by looking, I think. Yeah.
And looks over at Trestle and go ahead and describe yourself.
Yeah, Trustle's a guy. He's a fairly tall half elf. He's around 30-ish age, so still kind of young since half elves have a bit more years on top of humans. He's got this like beach blonde, sort of swished back head of hair. He's got this very innocent demeanor to him, and this childish smile that he's constantly sort of looking around the room quite excitedly, and if he catches anyone's eye, he'll like gladly smile at them.
Okay.
And he's wearing a sort of heavy overcoat, beside which is the lute, which he carries with him at all times. So this is a stringed guitar-like instrument. I guess everyone knows a lute. At the end of it, it's got this bar, this little rod of tuning keys attached to the very top, so they'll come out like small cowbells. And yeah, but he doesn't seem to use it much. But yeah.
Anything for you, gentlemen?
Oh, well, this companion of mine's in a terrible mood, it seems. How about you get him a beer? He would love it, I'm sure. Wouldn't you, Mort?
Do I really have to chime in on this conversation?
We'll have 2 beers then. And don't you think this room, this atmosphere, it's a bit boorish? How about I play a tune and lighten up the mood a bit?
I was just about to ask you. I see the lute there.
If you must. Oh, you're still here.
Oh,
okay.
And I'll be right back with your beers. And turns and the tea and the other steak. And he heads to the back.
Oh, I love small talk almost as much as I love music.
How about you do some harmonies for this next song? I know you love to sing along.
Oh, I wish I could knock myself out, little.
Oh, and he starts strumming away on his lute while sitting on his seat.
All right. And the other tables immediately turn to you, and some of them are smiling, some of them are kind of like, what the hell is this going on? Can you do a performance check for me real quick, please?
Yes. I'm a pretty good performer. So...
29.
29.
Jesus.
You could say so.
That's a way to start a campaign. So yeah, it's kind of just a dull afternoon, then all of a sudden your voice just rings through the tavern as the tables nearby turn to you. Some of them kind of like, what is going on? And then you start playing. It's like, oh, he's good. He's good. And they start like moving their heads to it. Slowly, the rest of the tavern, the workers there for lunch and some of the guests are rapt attention to you as you just strum away at your table. And as the song dies down, there's just a chorus of applause. Hey!
What a delightful young chap.
I actually like music. I actually have a small flute and a drum as well, but I'm not very good at playing it. But I like that. That was very good music. Very good.
About that time, Clyde comes back with your tea and your steak that is... It's seen a flame. And that's about all that can be said for it. And then he turns and places the beers next to Mort and Trestle. It's like, one of the other patrons paid for it after your song. Enjoy.
That is suspicious.
I'm sure they were so impressed by the inspiration that you gave to me, Mort, and that's why I was able to perform. That's why I charmed that crowd just now. For you.
Mm-hmm. Can I make like an investigation or perception to see if like that other patron that he was talking about, if he's like prosting?
Yeah, and I mean, with your passive perception, like you kind of catch out of the corner of your eye, there's a lady at the bar that is wearing kind of a nice but plain just red tunic and leather pants that's staring over at Trestle and staring over at Trestle with kind of her mug of ale raised at him.
Looks like you got yourself an admirer.
Well, you're the one who does the heroics in our companionship. You're the one who deserves the admirers. I'm sure that it's just a small confusion as to who the real talent of our show is. It's you.
Save your charming words for the lady.
So as they're having this conversation, Peanut and Rugon, how did you react to this sudden performance at the table right next to you?
I actually enjoyed it. I'm going to kind of like nudge Peanut with a wing and be like, it's a gesture of, you go and talk to them. I'll come with you.
I love the performance. Oh, it's so nice to see the youth, getting into music and the arts. It's finally something productive for them to do. So I'm like, Rue, come on, Rue, let's go say hi to this young lad and see. Also his companion. His companion doesn't look too great. Maybe they can use us, So I hop off my chair or jump off and head on over to your table.
And I imagine as you jump off the chair, your actual height gets lower a little bit.
Unfortunately.
So Morton, Trestle, you see these two people at the table next to you start making their way over towards you.
I kind of take a seat, tuck my wings back behind my back, and look towards Trestle.
Yeah.
I look towards Trestle and kind of just give like, as much as a bird can give a wink, I just give you like a wink of appreciation.
Welcome, stranger. Welcome to our table. I'm glad that we can commune and speak. What's your name?
Rugan.
Be blessed, stranger.
Thank you.
So this is
faith?
Rue. I am Peanut. What is your name, young lad? The one who sings so nice.
There's somebody speaking. Oh, down there. Hello. I am.
That's just rude.
I did see you there.
Yeah.
Who taught you
was
manners?
a bit rude. Careful.
Hello, my lady.
Yeah, that's ma'am to you. Are you okay? You look sick. Did you get a good sleep last night?
I don't require much sleep, but I am fine.
I can tell.
kind of a man of few. Are you a man?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, a man of few words. I like you.
Yes, for the small talk, I brought this one.
Ha! I understand the feeling. And wink towards Peanut.
Well, you don't seem to be from here.
No.
What brings you to this lovely shithole? Well, I just assumed to me, from being from Waterdeep, this is a shithole still, even though it's nice. So, I don't.
Oh, you're gonna be fun.
Don't mind him, don't mind him. He loves this place. And you know what? That thing about sleep, he sleeps all the time. And in the mornings when I try to wake him, oh my God, I can't shake him. He's such a deep sleeper.
So, what brought you two together?
Wow, that's a funny story, actually. It involved, I was actually looking for a performance of the next famous bard. You might not have heard of him. His name was Toyer of Elton. And oh my God, the Toyer of Elton, his performances are something that to we bards, it's a thing of legends. It's a thing to charm the heart and capture the soul. Yes, indeed. And Mortier, I'm pretty sure, was also following Toyer, I think, yeah.
Yes, he's lying. I'm hunting necromancers.
Okay. I still don't really understand why you're together, but sure.
Just laughs and is like,
let's say he's useful in tracking them down. And he, despite his chatty mouth, has been a trusty companion. And
he puts his hand in his heart.
he has... He pauses for a bit. A better side.
About that time, Clyde comes back over and sets down yet another beer in front of Trestle. And again, Mort, with your passive, you kind of see over against the far wall of the room, just kind of sitting under a window near one of the fireplaces, another young woman, this one young half-elf, in a blue tunic with just a very simple skirt. And in his other hand, he has another beer that he sets down, again, in front of Trestle. And again, Mort, you kind of, with your passive, you look up and see against the other wall, there's a young male human that's just kind of looking over. And
Popular lads, right? Yeah, you're popular.
You attract...
Testle's like, look, they bought drinks for all of us in the group.
you attract a lot of attention, don't you, friend?
It's just that they love us all equally in this room.
I can't blame him. Such a charming young man. Look at you. And she tries and reach your cheeks and squeeze it a bit.
This is like countless heads taller than you.
That's right, man. You should meet my granddaughter. You would like her. She's a bit small, but she's nice.
Peter?
yeah.
From the dream I had with those names appearing on that scroll, where they recently been introduced to me on this table?
They have not been, no.
Okay. What were those names, by the way?
The one that brought you to this particular town is the name Croix. Croix.
Okay.
Okay.
And at this point, Clyde, after he sets them down, is there anything else I can get you? I mean, you seem to have enough beers, but
Yeah. Do you have any grains?
grains, like we have flour to make our bread.
Seeds?
I could try the mill.
Do you have any small stones?
I mean, there's if if you walk outside, there's some...
Okay, fine. I'm good.
I was more meaning like I'm looking at you. We get adventurers through here quite often. Is there something in particular you're looking for that I can help you with?
What are we looking for, Peanut?
Bird-friendly things.
Yeah. They're looking for bird-friendly things. And guess what? I'm in town for a show. I'm looking
Oh, really?
for...
I didn't know we were having a show soon.
Well, that's the question. I don't know where it is, but I have a feeling it's in this town. And my friend over here, Mort, oh, what a fan he is. He's quiet now, but you should see him when he finds someone that he really likes. Oh,
Such a fan.
He just kind of looks over at Mort with this look of, huh?
the name was, what was the name again, Mort? Croy?
Croy.
Yeah, Croy is the name.
Hey, only Croy's here. They're not musicians.
Oh, well, you never know who has secret talents and has fame within local and small groups.
I mean, they're famous here, but not for that. Yeah, Agnes is artist. She does the scrimshaw, on the bones.
Oh, yes. Wonderful art.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful. More artists.
Her husband's a miner here.
Miner.
Yeah.
What do you mine here?
He kind of gives you a look. You never heard of us before.
I am not from near here.
Guess that. Gyms. Shinies.
Shinies, okay.
So yes, this Croy fellow. That's the husband of Agnes, or it's a certain other performer.
I told you, there's no performers here named Croy. Can you make a deception check for me, please?
Yes. Deception. Man, his deception's really high. All bards.
I love it. You rolled a 3, and it's still a 17. Bards.
Yeah.
He kind of gives you a look for just a beat. Like, what are you talking about? Where did you get this from? And then just kind of shrugs it off. But about that time, you hear a scream. Not of pain, it's yelling. That seems to be coming from outside of the bar, outside of the inn, and maybe a block away, very, very nearby. You're not sure what it is. Clyde kind of puts his head up. Oh, adventures? And kind of...
I just grab Peanut by the scruff and it's like, there be trouble afoot, Peanut.
Let's go have a look.
Drag her out the door.
Well, I'm not very good against trouble, but this fellow, I'll help him out as best as I can.
Oh, good. That's what adventurers are for here. Now go, do your thing. And it really is, this is the culture of Tin Towns, is shit happens, they hire adventurers. That's how it works. So, Mort, do you head out, or are you just staying put?
I cannot wait to get out of a tavern.
So as you leave the tavern, you hear this scream again, and it's, this time there is accompanied with another yell, but of pain, where the first yelling was more of a feminine voice, a woman that near as you can tell. The second one, that's pain, sounds more masculine. And as you get closer, you start to make out the sounds of the yelling. It's not my husband! Don't you see it's not him? And as you kind of turn the corner down this alleyway, there's a group of people that is now gathering around this woman that is screaming and has a knife in her hand that is just covered in blood. And as you get closer, you see a man laying apparently dead on the ground in front of her, with very obvious stab wounds. It looks like there's a city guard that got there just a beat before you did that is kind of grabbed her around the waist and picking her up and slowly starting to drag her away while one of his compatriots kind of stands over the body and is pushing everybody away. And she's still screaming as she's being dragged down the other end of the alleyway. It's not him! It's not him!
Peanut, I do believe this woman needs calming down.
Wait, can I see this? Am I tall enough to see through the crowd?
You're actually short enough that looking through the legs, you can kind of see the body on the ground.
And I can lift you as high as you want.
Yeah. And as you approach, the crowd actually kind of sees you. And again, culture of Tin Towns, they see a group of well-armed adventurers coming up. They kind of almost make way for you to come forward.
Right. So
Make way for the Inquisition. I'm a healer.
As we're outside,
Yeah.
and I don't really like walking, I will go into the air and hover just above the crowd.
You get some of the looks. There's actually a child nearby, and the mother's been kind of trying to shield his eyes and drag him away while he's been going, "What's this?" But he catches you and is dumbfounded at this bird man that's hovering right above him. You kind of, Mort, you have a high enough passive. You kind of hear out of the corner of your ear from the little kid. It's like, I want to be that when I grow up. Anyways.
You sure you want to be a bird?
And he kind of suddenly looks over at you and kind of notices you for the first time. And starts dragging his mother away.
This is no place for a child.
Enough talking, angry person. Come on.
As you
let me
approach-
through.
Yeah.
You can heal.
The guard kind of. Are you healers? I don't know if you can help, but I Stenarian. And he kind of steps to the side and lets you come forward as soon as you say the word healer.
Come on, you Mort. You say you do healing. I don't really trust him because he doesn't look like a kind person. I associate healing with kind people.
Well, who says healers have to be kind? Healers often require the tools of necromancy to perform their work. It is often called miracles, but it's really only just a tool they use.
And you do have a small crowd that's kind of now circling around you, half expecting a miracle.
I kneel down towards the body and would like to find out if he's dead.
Yeah, make a medicine check.
Medicine +9. So 16?
I mean, yeah, he's dead. Looking around, doing a quick inspection of the body, that's just kind of here. It's very clearly stab wounds, multiple stab wounds.
Okay.
And where did the woman go?
She's been drug away. So as you were coming in, the woman was being drug off by a different town guard, as she was screaming her way down as she was being pulled away.
Lord, I don't like the look of all this blood. Do you think we can help this poor man?
Yeah, first we must find out more. I cast Speak with Dead.
Damn it.
How many questions do you get for that?
Good question. Never cast that before.
Okay.
If it's I can. How do I post that here? It used to work before.
Yeah, you can just use it from D&D Beyond. I'm pretty sure it shows up as an action.
I'm also checking it myself.
Yeah, I'll look it up as well.
Five questions.
Whoa.
5 questions. Okay. You grant the semblance of life and intelligence to a corpse of your choice within range, allowing it to answer the questions you pose. The corpse must still have a mouth and can't be undead. Spell fails if the corpse was the target of the spell within the last 10 days. The corpse only knows what it knew in life, including the languages it knew. Answers are usually brief, cryptic, or repetitive, and the corpse is under no compulsion to offer a truthful answer if you are hostile to it or it recognizes you as an enemy. The spell doesn't return this is partially for me because I've not worked with this spell before. The spell doesn't return the creature's soul to its body, only its animating spirit. Thus, the corpse can't learn new information, doesn't comprehend anything that has happened since it died, and can't speculate about future events. So, you cast Speak with Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is going to be fun. As this corpse is lying there, fresh blood on the ground, suddenly air comes into it, and the mouth shoots open, and the entire crowd just takes a step back collectively, including the guard. Just like, what the hell is going on? But they're not running. This is a show.
This is fine.
What, you done it?
Oh, okay.
Salutations.
The corpse is
Who
just
killed
staring
you?
up at you blankly, waiting for your question.
Who killed you?
I don't know.
Well, fuck. Who's your biggest enemy?
Clara. You hear a couple whispers from the crowd around you at that one.
Mort, what about the wife?
What about her?
She said, the woman who attacked said that this man is not her husband. Could that be his wife?
Perhaps. Do you think it's... Should I ask him who he is?
Oh, I think we can find that out from the others around us.
Yes,
But
you're
who
right.
was that woman?
You mean the woman that just disappeared?
She was dragged away. She stabbed him and was dragged away. She said that this man isn't her husband. Was she lying?
Were you with a woman just now?
Not that I recall.
Doesn't have a good memory, this one.
Find out the wife's name, maybe.
What's the name of your wife?
And you see almost a smile pass over the corpse's face, which is both somehow reassuring and creepy as hell at the same time.
Yeah.
Agnes.
Interesting. I have one question left, right?
Yes, you have one left.
Well, Mr. Croy, do you wish to be brought back?
Back? He responds as a question. And then with that, the last of the worldly air and essence that had filled his lungs and allowed him to respond leaves. And he lies still on the ground again. There's one person in the crowd around that kind of starts, oh. It's like, that was a great, wait, that wasn't a trick.
Well, it seems... Well, did I just his wife's called Agnes, right? And we learned earlier that Agnes Croy was a some artist, and her husband was a miner.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So I would presume that was him.
You have not had that confirmed at any point, but it's a pretty safe assumption.
Well, there's nothing more I can do for him, except, and I put both my palms on his lifeless body, and I cast Gentle Repose.
Okay.
It's probably best if he's brought away from bystanders so he can find some rest before his burial.
Yes, we'll take him. The guard kind of hearing you. So, we'll take him to Dr. Sweet. And, at that point, a few other town guards have come. And some of them are kind of standing between the crowd and you guys. And, two of them, but one of them has brought a litter with them, and they kind of load the corpse onto it. Two of them grab it, one from each end, and start walking down the alley. And the crowd slowly starts to disperse, going about their business, but all four of you notice they're all... Did he say Clara?
Trestle puts his hand on the shoulder of Mort and says, I know you cared. You tried your best.
Yes.
I kind of land at this point after being hovering and land next to Peanuts like, what do we make of all this? What do we make of these two?
I've never seen a healer who heals dead people.
Some dark arts.
That is... Do I hear this?
Yeah. Well, he can, like, it's not making much of a secret of it.
No.
Well...
Yes, you hear it.
Magic is a double-edged sword in a sense that, unlike a real sword, it can both kill and unkill.
Okay.
It is not evil or good per se. It depends on who uses it. And I try to not judge. So compassion is futile.
Right.
Okay.
Aren't heroes
So
so wise?
Now, what do
You
we
are
think
mocking
of
me.
this- what do we think of this situation?
It appears that somebody has died.
Well, yes. I must
You're
admit,
really wise.
your communing with the body there didn't seem to clear up very much.
Well, we learned that the dead person is a Croy, right? The
You
person
have
we're
not
looking
asked,
for?
and he never said. He gave you first names only.
Well, how many Agnes can there be? Should we maybe find somebody that might know this one?
The other guard is still there, by the way. He's just kind of standing by and letting the adventurers do their work.
Yeah.
Should
I want to
we?
give
Should
Crystal
we?
a poke with my staff. Get his attention. I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
you
yes.
charming one.
Yes.
Oh, that
Well,
one. Sorry.
Never mind,
Oh.
Mort. He's just a little scared now that he failed to save someone. He did try his best.
And he turns towards the crowd. Friends! And he puts on an almost performance-like voice and says,
We wish to do all that we can to help this situation. Who was this man? And more importantly, who was his enemy, Clara?
At this point, most of the crowd has already started to disperse. And the guard kind of steps forward. It's like, I can answer that for you.
Please.
This was was Denarian Croy. He's a good man. The woman that was yelling and being pulled away was Agnes, his wife.
Have they argued before?
No. Never. They're good people. I mean, Denarian's not the friendliest, but he's not mean. He's not.
What about this Agnes? She's an artist. Is this true?
Yes. Anyone who's anyone in this town has some of her work. It's beautiful. What she does with bone and ivory, it's beautiful.
Bone and ivory? She makes art out of dead animals?
Oh,
Ugh.
yes.
I like her.
I actually kind of turn the other way and like spit on the ground.
I'll give him a little pat, or as far as I can reach. It's fine.
Nice pat on the hip.
Perhaps about this artist, this Agnes. Well, could it be possible that there are rumors? Could this artist have secrets?
Rumors?
Agnes? And he almost is like disbelief. No. She's a worshipper of Tyr. They're every... Good lord, she's more religious than anyone in the town, including some of the clerics. And more especially, you would have caught Tyr, the god that he just mentioned, is a god of law and judgment. So it tends to be very good law and order, keeping peace, keeping everything moving correctly.
Where is she being taken now?
Imagine to the town hall. It's where don't have much of a prison, but we have some holding cells there.
I trust that if we would be allowed to speak with her, especially my generous and brave friend Mort here, then we could find something out.
Well, I mean, if you want to, and the guard still seems very shocked by this whole thing. Like, he's trying to be helpful, he's trying to do his thing, but he's still wrapping his head around the situation as well.
You may escort us.
I'm not sure what there is to do. I mean, half the people here saw her start yelling and kill him.
But when someone acts out of character, sometimes there is a story there.
I guess. Yeah, I need to stay here until we can clean this up, I guess. If you go, and he kind of gives you directions towards the town hall, and I can actually give you a map of the area.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
I will set up so...
To the mines.
To the mines. We'll do that.
Cool.
So on our map here, you guys are up on the north end, around east side. The town hall is just a little bit south of where you are, and it's one of the larger buildings in town. It would be pretty difficult to miss.
Yeah. Trestle gives like a final word of comfort to the guard as we set off and says, don't worry, I understand these things are shocking. I too, like you, am just a simple citizen. I travel with these brave companions only to learn of the ways of great heroes such as Mort. But I do know one thing from all of my travels. We can trust everything in them.
He kind of gives you this raised eyebrow look like he's learned the exact opposite in his life.
Trust in the adventurers, yes.
I think we all give you that look.
Anyways, yeah, go down to the town hall. You'll want to talk to either Shailene or She's kind of the head of the town. Or I suppose you could also talk to someone whose name I'm missing right now. Ulred. Yeah, there it is. Elred. But
And who is Elred?
I would just talk to Shailene. Elred is a good, strong man and the head of the guard.
Ah, okay.
He sounds like a great guy.
He is a good, strong man, and he says it like that's a phrase he's rehearsed.
Don't need an inside check for that.
But I still want to roll. No. Okay, so where should we go first? It seems we are thrown into this situation together. What should we do first?
Are you as intrigued as I am?
Are you intrigued?
Are you intrigued?
A lot. I'm always intrigued if there's something to investigate.
When there's
Okay.
something to solve.
Well, the town mistress or the head of the guard?
A conclusive investigation requires thorough interrogation of all potential parties involved. So I would say we gather them and question them just to save us time. But they might not be willing, so that might not be an option. I don't want to use force. They have potentially not done any harm, and I've been told in the past I act too rashly on these things, so I'll try to be more tippy-toey.
Fair enough. Then where should we begin? Who should we gather first?
Let's talk to this Elrad guy.
Yeah, like-
How did you describe him? A very good, strong
A
man?
A good,
Strong.
strong man. Yeah.
Yes,
You also got the
yes,
impression
that
that they're both Shaylin and Elred are in the same place. They both work out of the town hall.
Ah, okay.
Convenient.
Peanut, how heavy are you?
Oh no. I don't know. How heavy are gnomes usually? Let me quickly.
Not very heavy.
Yeah,
All right, I'll say to the other two, we'll see you there. Pick up Peanut and soar into the air.
I start flying behind them.
Ah! Show off.
Trestle,
He's
what are
like
you
25
doing?
pounds or something. So
Okay.
yeah, light, light enough.
So your new bird and gnome friend have just flown off. Mort has flown off. What are you doing?
Are you coming?
Tristan looks up in awe as they fly away and he's like, wow, heroes. He starts heading towards the town hall, also by foot, very slowly.
I turn back at Mort and just be like, "Ha, magic user, and flap my wings.
So yeah,
I just
especially
have good taste in footwear.
Oh, okay. That's still magic.
our flyers. It does not take you very long at all to get to the town hall. It's just a few blocks away to the south. So you get there and land in front of this very large, slightly ornate, especially compared to the more well-kept, but very much frontier town that you're in. With red shingled roof, a little bit of carving work in and around doorways and roofing. It's a very, very nice building. And as you land in front of it, you actually... you almost still hear Agnes. It sounds like she's just been brought in. By flying, you actually made up quite a bit of time. Trestle is a good 10 minutes away, probably still.
Should we wait for your friend?
Yeah.
So Trestle, you get a good view of the town. So as you just arrived recently, this is your first kind of tour around it. It's a nice place. It's still very, like I said, it's very frontier, but it looks like frontier that is doing well for itself. Nothing seems broken down. Nothing seems like it's put together at the last minute. There's obviously some craftsmen and some skill and some care that's gone into building this town. You even see kind of at the far end of one of the main roads that you see, there appears to be a market further down. That's at this hour of the day, as you can see, is a bustle of activity, kind of like seeing a Christmas market from several blocks away. But you eventually find your way to the town hall after your little tour of the area. The other three, are you doing anything besides awkwardly standing around during these 10 minutes?
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm not really much sensitive to strange things in the air. I guess I was looking at people, looking around. Maybe, I mean, I suppose we could go in, but it would be rude.
I would like to make some small talk with Mort.
Okay, feel free.
Oh, great.
So
I looked like in the distance. Where is he?
the weather is nice today, isn't it? Right.
Yes, we have a weather. That is correct.
So tell me, what young man Mort, how close are you to your friends? Like you seem like best friends.
I suppose oh God, there's even truth to that. If you're an independent inquisitor on the road, tasked with hunting down the undead, you tend to not make a lot of friends. So I'm glad I found him. He's a companion.
Have you found many undead in your career?
Yes, I wouldn't be High Inquisitor otherwise.
I once met some undead, a boat crewed by an undead crew. That was a sight to be seen.
Did you put them to rest?
We definitely did.
That is really good to hear. I thank you for doing the world a service.
No problem.
It's nice to see you express some form of emotions. Peanut is a bit worried about him. Yeah.
About that time, Trustle starts to make his way towards the square in front of the town hall.
Ah, there you are.
Oh, you waited for me. I feel so grateful.
Yes,
If we had watches, I'd be looking at it right now. I am exceptionally fast, and you are very slow.
Okay, then should we go in?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have grave and important business in this lovely town. I wish we could spend more time looking at the sights, but we should get to helping these people here.
Do you
I think
need to
we've
catch a
already
breath
got
first? You
inside.
seem very out of breath.
Well, I guess it would be nice to be able to fly. I have to use my legs to reach places.
What's that like?
Let's go in.
Okay. You enter the town hall, and you are greeted with a large kind of foyer lobby area with a desk on the back wall, 2 staircases that go off to either side, and 2 large wings to the left and the right. And it's not incredibly ornate, but it's very well done. Like all the walls, the floor, it's all very deep, dark, polished woods that Peanut, you would recognize as not being local timber.
Oh, okay.
So this was clearly brought in almost as a show of wealth, some bit of power to the city. A few plants, a few bits of artwork to make it not just the wood, but it's a very beautiful but practical space. And as you come in, you see a female dwarf that is kind of going back and sitting behind the desk. Oh, goodness, more. What can I help you with?
More?
Oh,
What do you mean more?
I just brought Agnes in. I don't...
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Salutations. You will show us to this Agnes.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
This is now a federal investigation. I am from the High Inquisition. Show my badge.
I think I've heard of you, but that's not a... If you'll excuse me, sir, that's not a thing here. You'll still need permission.
Trestle walks up and puts his hand again on the shoulder of Mort and says, "Well, I know he comes on a bit strong, but in fact he is a very, very important and incredibly heroic figure, if I do say so myself."
And you get this look that the other two of you are now very familiar with. Trestle, you're very, very familiar with it. Of looking at Mort and trying to fit the word hero in with it.
I forgot to mention that I have yellow eyes.
Yep.
Just to make things better.
Oh, yeah. So you see this, like, calculation going on. I'm sure, but rules are rules. I can't just let anyone in.
Madam, we're not quite anyone.
I can see that. But if you want to be hired on official business, you'll need to talk to Shailene. Otherwise, I can't do anything.
But we're offering to help you. We are experienced adventurers and offering to help.
We appreciate that. I can show you to Shailene if you wish.
I think he was also on our list to speak to, so why not?
She.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, he gets confused with genders. No.
Yes, we just lay eggs.
And at this point, you see it click over from confusion to I'm going to help them just so they're out of my hair.
Excellent.
I'll show you to Shailene. If you follow me, please. And she comes from behind the desk and starts walking up one of the staircases to your right of the desk as you're looking at it. I'll follow along.
I hover behind them.
I'll walk this time.
And as she's looking
think
back
it's
to kind of
fine.
wave you on and tell you to follow her, she sees Mort floating towards her.
I wave my skeletal hand at her.
And she just kind of turns.
I kind of imagine Mort's like head bowed down, but like eyes like up all the time as he flips.
And trying to convince people he's there to help.
Anyways.
I just look at his boots, look at the ceiling, and look disappointed.
She scurries up the stairs. As you follow her up, you end up in a upper hallway that you actually look over and see both staircases end at this hallway. Continue up, but they lead to this hallway. And it's, again, very nice, well-crafted, polished wood hallway, this time with a lush red carpet going down it. She kind of takes you over to the side and knocks on one of the doors. Shailene, there's some adventurers here to potentially help with the Agnes situation. And you hear from behind the door, very well, send them in. Jalen kind of opens, or not Jalen, the dwarf opens the door and kind of ushers you in and books it back down the hallway and down the stairs, kind of edging towards the wall as she's passing Mort.
What is wrong with her?
She doesn't seem made of very stern stuff to be a mare. But anyway.
Yes.
And so do you enter the room?
Yeah, sure.
So as you enter, you see a woman who looks to be also in about her 50s, about the same age as Mort, with this gray braid that is going down her back and over her shoulder. And she has on a very, it's not ornate, but it's a very nice blue dress with just a simple shawl, fur shawl over her shoulders. She takes a look at all four of you and gestures for you to have some seats. There's a couple chairs and around some meeting tables and such nearby that you can pull up to her desk. Please, you believe you can help?
Indeed, we're passing by this town, and we were in the tavern when something terrible happened outside.
Yes, I've already received word of it.
Yes, we're very experienced, especially this fellow right here, and he points to Mort. We can help as best as we can.
I attempt a smile.
She is completely unfazed. I'm not...
No, Mort, dear, don't.
I'm not sure what you wish to help with. It seems as unbelievable as it is. There were witnesses. I'm not sure what you want to help with.
It's true that in a simple form there were witnesses to this horrendous event, but, well, feel with your heart about this situation. We came along and tried our best to heal that poor man, but now that he's passed away, despite the best efforts of our friend Mort here, well, don't you think it would be right if we were to find out exactly why this happened, what Agnes was intending, or what she meant when she screamed that this man wasn't her husband?
I think she intended to say that she believed he wasn't her husband and stabbed him to death.
But for the sake of remembrance of their love that once was, we must find out what happened. What truly happened at that woman's mind, and why she turned like this. Can't you see that Mort just wants to help?
Looks to Mort. Looks back to you. Agnes was a friend. As much as it pains me, I would never have thought she was capable of this. You say you believe there's something else going on?
It cannot hurt to investigate. And relying solely on eyewitness accounts is often a foolish attempt in finding out the truth. If you say she was your friend, then there's no harm in us poking around.
But poking around,
we have means to find out the truth.
We can help your friends.
Mr. Bard, I know what he means. It's not the first time I've dealt with adventurers such as yourself.
Oh, I'm
very
relieved.
well. And she takes out a piece of paper, and you see her scribbling just very briefly on it. It takes a bit of wax and holds it over a nearby candle to melt it, pours it at the bottom of the paper, and stamps it. This should give you the rain that you need to investigate. I can give you 48 hours. After that, come back to me, report back, and we'll go from there.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
A wife murdering her husband? It does
Well,
happen.
a wife murdering her husband or the other way around, and claiming strange statements before they did.
Not this particular statement, no. Inside. Mort. You see her hesitate, like she's about to add something to it, but stops.
As you were saying.
It's just that there's... Recently, we had some disappearances. But then a few people went missing for a day or two, but then they showed up again.
Where did they go?
Oh, usually it was just a few of them were visiting friends in other towns and simply forgot to tell other people, so if people thought they were missing. It was an odd occurrence, but everyone came back. Life
Did
is
they seem
continued as normal.
different after they returned?
Not that I can tell.
And was Agnes' husband one of those people?
Actually, I do believe he was. Missing
How
about
lo-
10 days ago.
10 days.
I came back a day or two later. Agnes was worried, but he was simply with a friend.
How many other people have recently gone missing?
The last month had 10 or so, maybe a few more that I'm aware of.
And compared to, say, 2 months ago.
None. But again,
And you think there's nothing unusual about that?
oh, I thought there was plenty unusual about that. But we have limited resources to hire people such as yourselves, and again, they came back, and everything seemed fine.
That's fair enough.
Do you have their names?
I have a few of their names. One moment. And she kind of rifles through a drawer and pulls out a file, sets it down in front of her. Let's see, Denarian, who we already discussed, was one of them. Alden, though that's hardly a surprise. He went missing the same time Denarian did. They were out together. That's all that happened there. And the only real one of note, Clara Mainster.
Hang on, what?
Clara.
That name sounds familiar.
The Meister?
Clara Mainster.
Oh, Mainster. Okay, sorry.
Justin whispers to Mort, that was the name of the enemy of Agnes.
Thank you for jogging my mind. Truly, I mean it. Hey, fuck. Perhaps. I mean, I don't know. Should we still go to Agnes and then go to this other Clara girl, or?
Yeah, it would be good to know what she thought was different about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah, I think.
there's Elred. Elred's still in this building.
Mm.
So I think if everyone else has sort of stopped asking questions, then Trestle will also add. And we were directed to speak with Elred. He might be able to help.
You were?
Well, the name was mentioned.
I'm sure he was. He's the captain of the guard here, but
Yes, a strong and good man, yes?
that's a good way to describe him, yes.
Where can we find him?
Oh, if you're going to speak to Agnes, you'll probably see him. His office is near the holding cells, actually.
Then-
Golly, let's go. Come on, Rue. And, Tristel and Mort, maybe don't float this time.
Yes, that actually would probably be a good idea. It's a nice trick, but A lot of people around here aren't used to that.
That's exactly what it is, a trick. All right.
48 hours. Now, if you excuse me.
And I leave.
Yeah.
Thank you for your assistance. And,
Can I shake her hand goodbye?
Of course. I assume you reach out with the skeletal hand?
I mean, retconning it now, it seems way cooler if my right hand was the skeletal hand.
Okay.
For handshake reasons.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So you reach out with the skeletal hand, and she doesn't skip a beat. She just grabs it and shakes your hand.
Wow, what a pants.
I like you, lady. Never mind.
And she gives you a look like, I've dismissed you, go away.
So we're all out.
I don't know, Morit's still in this weird, like...
Oh, you
Staring at
mean me? All right, let's go.
Let's speak to Agnes.
Okay. Before you speak to Agnes, it is 7:20. We're actually going to take a bit of a break here. Make sure I have the right thing on this time. Welcome back. So, we left off with our adventures in the town of Tourmaline, a mining town in the collective known as Tin Towns, up in the northern area of the Sword Coast, known as Icewind Dale. After meeting each other in the East Side Inn, they heard a yelling coming from about a block away and discovered a woman holding a bloody knife and getting dragged away from a dead body on the street. After a quick conversation with the dead, they, because that's a thing that happens, found their way to the town hall and have now been granted access by the town speaker, Shaylin, to investigate, though everyone seems to think this is pretty open and shut, as a large crowd saw Agnes stab her husband in broad daylight. So that is where we are, and we come back to the four of you.
So we were heading to the captain. Yeah?
Captain Elred.
Yeah.
A good and strong man. So as you come down the stairs, you see the dwarf woman kind of peek from behind the desk and kind of seeing Mort's actually walking this time. It seems to... Little sigh of relief. How did it go?
Wonderful, wonderful. We have exactly what you need. Some permission from Shailene. Thank you so much for your help.
Of course. She seems to be very nervous around you right now. If you go down that hallway, and she gestures towards the hallway to your left as you're facing it. If you present that to Captain Elred, he'll allow you to see her.
Then we'll make on our way. And remember, people like Mort and these other two, they help for you. For you. And then walk away.
And she does the slow smile nod thing.
If I had an eyebrow, I would raise it right now.
So you go down...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just maybe when we talk to Agnes, Tristel and I should do the talking. And Rue, I know you don't talk too much anyway, so you're good. I know you, buddy. But you, Mort, just let your friend do the talking.
I can assist.
I'm sure you have it in you somewhere.
If you'd like, I can compel them to only tell the truth.
I think. I give him a little pat on the hip as well. It's like, there. Shh, hush now.
If you think you're more effective, be my guest. At least I won't have to talk, so I actually welcome this.
Oh. I look at Rugan. Just give him a questioning look, like, why are we talking to these people?
Call it adventurous fate.
I like the young one, but the other one is a bit.
They'll have their uses. Anyway.
Lord, I think that she said that she likes you.
Your ears work differently than mine. But they also look differently, so maybe that's that.
Looks thoughtful of this.
Nope, just lost Chris.
Precious.
And he's back. Hey.
Sorry, there's a Mac keyboard shortcut that's exactly the same as the keyboard shortcut for hang up in Skype, which is really annoying. And really, Skype should change that because that's really annoying. Anyway, right.
It just flew off for a moment. So as you go down this side hallway, it is much more utilitarian than the wing that you just left. And at the end of it is a heavy oaken door with a very obvious lock next to it, and then another door to the side that looks to be similar to what you've seen around, just a plain office door.
Mm-hmm. How many doors are there?
So, I mean, there's a couple doors going down the hallway, but at the end of the hallway, you have these two next to each other.
Can I thaumaturgy they all open?
You try to.
Okay.
And you hear this kind of rattle.
Stomp my staff on the ground.
If you stomp the staff, there's almost this shockwave that goes out, and you hear all the doors rattling. And only the door at the far end, next to the big heavy door, whoom, slams open. And you just hear from inside, "What? What was that?" And this big man comes out in this like red tunic with this deep V in it going down to like mid chest and very like hairy.
Who could this be?
No, I don't think this is him.
Like obvious like big arms, big legs, a big burly guy. If you think Gaston, you're pretty close. What was that? You four.
Us.
Was that you?
Turn back. It's like,
Well, we came here to help with the investigation. In fact, we got aid from Shailene about this, and we heard that, well, someone down here named, a good fellow, a brave fellow named Elrod could help us.
Ah, that's me.
Well, we've heard many, many good things about you.
All respect to Shaylin, there's not much to help with. I mean, she stabbed the guy. Everyone saw it. I think we're done here.
Is this woman, well, did you know her personally?
Not personally. I mean, she makes some art stuff, I guess, but I don't know. She stabbed the guy. Everyone saw it. We're done here.
Well, if she's here, then we would gladly like to speak with her. The thing is, we might not be done. There could be more to this mystery, don't you think?
Nah.
Did you know her husband recently disappeared?
Oh, yeah, but then he came back. He was just out hunting with his friend.
don't you have a sense of curiosity? Isn't there some wonder about this situation?
Nah.
I see. Well, could we speak to her?
Nah.
Can I just float past him and ignore him?
We do also have the paperwork. You don't have to do that.
All right.
He sees you. He almost steps to the side and just lets you float past. And then the heavy door is very clearly locked.
Sir,
We are here on official business. Heh.
Oh, if you have something like proof of that, or
We do, in fact.
In fact, yes.
Why, take a look.
one of these things with the stamp on it. Yeah, sure. And he gives it back to you. I don't see why you need to. And you hear him kind of mumble the whole, she stabbed him, everyone saw it, we're done here, as he's unlocking the door. If you don't mind, though, I'm going to be standing nearby. It's kind of a... I should be nearby. I feel like...
That makes you feel better.
Well,
We
I mean, she's kind of
appreciate your
supposed
help.
to be in my charge and all that, so yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
It is reassuring that Tourmaline's finest are helping us in this investigation.
ain't it just? And he just smiles and nods.
I call something that no one understands, thankfully.
I can do bird calls like that too. And he starts to do his owls. Woo, woo.
I take a wing and just like...
I mean, she's right through here. I mean, we got this. You really, yeah. He's not stopping you and letting you go through.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Trestle will just head in.
So as you go through, it leads to a small back room, and it's just two small holding cells. It's not anything big. It's not fancy. Like the rest of the building, it's still made from that nice polished wood material. There just happens to be two gated areas within it that you see immediately have what looks to be a fairly comfortable bed, chamber pot. Those of you from larger cities, like more in particular, but no, this is probably more used for people that got a little too publicly drunk more than serious crimes. But you do see in one of them the lady that you saw screaming and being dragged away before, just kind of sitting and hunched to herself on one of the beds. She has this long blonde hair that's just kind of over both of her shoulders and hiding her face a little bit, wearing a like ice blue dress over a white tunic, as she's just kind of within herself right now.
So the other cell is empty?
Yeah, the other cell's empty at the moment. So it's just her, and Elred kind of steps into the door frame as you all walk through, and he's just standing there, watching and listening.
Trestle sort of looks towards Peanut for a second, and then looks back at this woman and says to Peanut,
I hope we can be helpful to her and gentle about how we ask these questions.
Let me take the lead. Woman to woman. I got this. So Peanut walks up to the holding cell. Mm-hmm. And like, oh, dearie, don't be afraid. We're here to help you. Come a bit closer. Come.
You see a hand come up and just ask you to hold for a moment. And you at this point notice that she's whispering lightly to herself. And she kind of finishes what she's doing, takes a deep breath, turns towards you, and you can see kind of the red puffy eyes. You know that she's been crying quite a bit at some point.
What was that, dear? I'm a bit old. You have to speak up. What were you saying?
I was praying. And it appears my prayers have been answered. As I knew they would be.
Of course, come a bit closer. Let me introduce you to me and my friends.
She stands and kind of folds her hands in front of her and walks up to the bars. A pleasure to meet you. I'm pleased that Tyr has sent such a capable-looking group.
I don't think Tyr has anything to do with it.
Mort, what did we say about talking?
Excuse me, I spoke too much.
She kind of looks again. She looks towards you, Mort, for a second. And notices your attire and kind of notices the holy symbols. Takes you for a cleric or somebody in the religious affiliation pretty quickly.
Cleric adjacent.
Cleric adjacent, yeah. Whether or not you realize it, Master Cleric, I presume. I believe
You presume correctly.
You have questions, I imagine. Please ask.
I am not allowed to talk.
So, dearie, you were yelling something after you seemingly have killed your husband.
He was, and there's a hardness that comes onto her face very quickly. It's like, that thing was no more my husband than you are.
What do you mean?
He disappeared about a 10-day ago. Came back, said that he was hunting with his friend. Happens frequently enough. But he was different. He wasn't my Denarian. He was close. Nearly the same. But not. I had my suspicions. And when I confronted him, told him that I knew he wasn't himself and something was wrong, he said, then perhaps I should just leave. And there wasn't a flicker, an ounce of my husband in his eyes. That thing was no more my husband than you.
So you stabbed him. Seems a bit of a harsh reaction, and I look at the others, see what they think.
My dear, it's harsh here. If there's something like this that is taken someone you cared for, it's best to deal with it.
Question to the DM.
Yes.
When we examined the body, the stab wounds, were they from behind?
They were from the front.
From the front, but the victim didn't seem to know its purpose.
That was the reason. Yeah, when you asked who killed him, he said he did not know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I have spoken to your quote-unquote husband after he died.
That's an interesting trick. Not one
Yes.
granted to many.
He did not seem to recall who killed him. Yet the whole town knows who did it. It would somehow corroborate your story that he was not aware of what happened in his body when he was still alive?
I can't tell you what took my husband, but I will gladly tell you that I killed it.
Did you notice anything strange when it happened with his body?
A thing appeared nearby and then ran off. Don't know if it was related, but it was there and then it wasn't. It looked to be like no larger than a small dog, and on 4 legs, but looked wrong. It disappeared into the chaos quickly.
Curious. Does the name Clara ring any bell?
Yes, it does. She and my husband were rivals of a sort. Until 10 days ago, they did not get along at all. Not real animosity, not hatred, just always competing with each other. Differing views on everything. To tell you the truth, I think my husband respected her somewhat, and vice versa, though neither would ever admit it. Then 10 days ago, all of a sudden, they were seen together constantly. Around town, near East Side Inn. Went from not being able to be in the same room to best friends, seemingly.
That is odd, indeed.
Miss Croy,
Yes,
may I ask a question?
of course.
Well, when your brave husband, when he disappeared, didn't he say he went hunting with his friend and also with Clara?
No, just with his friend, with Alden.
But I heard that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Didn't Clara go missing around the same time as your husband?
Near the same time. Did not hear the story of what happened with her, but she, like my husband, showed up again soon enough. Imagine it's a similar story. Taking care of
Where did-
business or simply spending time in the mine with...
In the mine, you say? Is
Yeah.
that where they went off?
They're both miners, yes. Like I said, they had
Right.
a kind of professional rivalry.
What about this friend of him, Alden? Did he change? Did he become something else? Like you said, your husband became something else.
I'm not sure I know him well enough to have noticed. If you
So-
help me in this matter, I can pay you, naturally. I'll be happy to share some of my artwork with you. I promise it is worth quite a bit, if I do say so myself. I believe Tyr has sent you here to make sure that justice is performed. If you do so, I will be happy to reward you for your efforts.
I cast the cantrip message to Mort, and I say,
Go for Mort.
"Hey, what's up?"
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm sorry to suggest such a thing, but what if simply this Clara went missing at the same time because she traveled with Mr. Croy, and simply they were hiding something from Agnes, and Agnes misunderstood entirely what was wrong?
It could be a possibility. But humans are creatures of habit. There must be a reason. I think it might be a good idea to go to these mines.
Well, you are the wise and brave one.
You keep saying that.
He puts down the phone.
I feel maybe we should talk to some of the others who disappeared and returned and see if there's anything strange about them. And that might help us know whether this is just a misunderstanding or something more.
Does she seem like worried at all that she's gonna be judged soon for murdering her husband, because it's a pretty close case? Because she
No.
seemed pretty fine.
She seems, like I said, you would also notice the kind of red puffy eyes. Like, she's been through some trauma. But make a religion check for me, please. And if anyone else has proficiency in religion, you may do so as well.
Wow, weirdly, I only have a +4 in religion as a cleric.
I think I have lower, actually.
Funny how often that actually happens.
That's an 8.
Can I also roll?
Yeah. That's also an 8.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. She seems to not actually be that worried. Can't peg down quite why, but she doesn't seem to be worried.
Dear, I think it is time that we leave you here.
I shall go back to my prayers.
Sure.
As we're walking
luck.
out, sorta, I'll tell all of you that I'm not sure if I even have, frankly, but I would probably have told. Forgot your name, Tyrrell.
What? Trust.
Tristel.
Tristel. Yeah.
Best friend.
Buddy, your buddy.
That was in character.
That I was sort of like nudged in to this direction, particularly the name Croy by my god, and I think that compels me to pursue this further.
Yeah, I feel like this definitely would have been said between us at some point. And Trestel's probably the whole time has just been happy-go-lucky, like, yeah, sure, we'll do that thing. And every once in a while he talks about, I was going to say that he talks about like going to see this performance of the other great bard, but forget that. Like he'll agree with whatever you said about this Croy guy.
If nothing else, I'm sure the mine will provide plenty of resources for the spells I often cast, and this is actually something that the Inquisition needs in order to sustain, so we should probably continue.
Mm-hmm.
And we should
Fine with
stick
me.
together, don't you think?
Yes, I'm not letting you out of my sight.
Thanks, Mort, but I meant the other two.
You guys are so cute together.
That's one word for it. We are still in this woman's prison cell, by the way.
I assume as you're leaving, and as you leave, Elred just kind of calls out to you as he's locking the door. See? Open and shut.
Yeah.
You mean your mouse?
Make a vicious mockery roll.
No. Patrick, Mort, what's your strength score? Like, what is your that ability level?
11.
11. Okay. He just kind of looks at you, crosses his arms, and kind of that way to make both of the biceps pop a little bit more. You do your job, I'll do mine.
I'll pull back my my cloak and flex my bare bone of my hand. Like,
Make an
you're not the only
intimidation
one.
check for me, please.
You're not the only one who can flex.
We're doing a flex off. I could.
We
flex
really
my-
are. We're biceps versus skeletal hand.
Okay. Think I never
Welcome
thought.
to D&D.
2.
I do. So as you like flex your bony hand, you just hear this. Nice trick, little guy. And he goes into his office and closes the door behind him.
Strange, but usually works.
Against who?
I don't want
Okay,
to talk
so what are we
about
doing? Are we going to go and talk to the other disappearees, or are we just going to... What's our plan?
What is your plan?
Yes, what is our plan?
Maybe should we locate this Clara?
Okay,
All
yeah.
right, or Olden.
Because actually, would we have found out by now, or even by coming into the town, how far the mines actually are?
No, but it would be pretty easy to find out.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
already pretty late, right?
By this point, after
getting late.
these conversations and everything else, I'm assuming you guys are heading out of the town hall at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you head back out and start trying to decide what you're going to do next, you do notice that it is starting to get later in the afternoon. It's probably 4 or 5 at this point. Maybe a little, or closer to 4. But this far north, that still means the sun's starting to get lower in the sky.
Then yeah, I figure we're set up towards trying to find Clara, and there was one other, wasn't there?
Olden.
Olden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clara first, I presume.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Is there a graveyard here?
Yes, there would be.
Would there be like a shrine or temple dedicated to my deity?
No, there would not be.
Okay.
Worship of Jurgal is rare this far west in Faerun. He's known, but there's not... Even where you're from, temples to him aren't super duper common.
If I later have a minute or so while the evening is setting in, I would like to create like sort of like an impromptu shrine in an area of the graveyard that isn't much frequented.
Yeah, that's doable.
Just with holy symbols and the statue, and I would like to hollow it and sanctify it a little bit.
Okay.
And no ulterior motive at all.
Okay. Are you doing this now, or is this for later in the evening?
Later, before the day ends, just to out of character. Eventually, if shit hits the fan, I would like to have a sanctuary to teleport us back to.
Understood. But yeah, that's doable this evening. So, who are you looking for first?
Clara, yeah? I think we agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
If one of you could make an investigation check, please. As
Not
you're
me.
asking around town and trying to find this person.
This should probably be me. Oh no, actually,
No.
weird. Should probably not be me.
Not me either. Intelligence
no.
was one of
Make
my...
a investigation check, please.
Yes. This is actually not that great at this, but yeah. Okay, I got a 19.
19, jeez. Yeah, it doesn't. Clara's known in the town, so it doesn't take you very long at all to get pointed to the direction of her house, which is closer to the docks on the west side. So it would be, as I pull the map up for audience. So on the west side of town, there's a tavern that you're told about called the Blue Clam. And Clara's house is apparently just a little bit up the block from there.
Yeah, I relay the info back to the others and say we should head to this house.
Should we walk this time so you can actually come with us?
I would be so grateful.
Rue, would you mind?
It hurts me. I don't like walking. Sure.
Oh, be nice for once.
Stupid human. Those stupid bipeds.
So as you walk, it takes you about a good 20, 30 minutes to get to that side of the town. This is kind of more in the other district. But it doesn't take you very long, and there's a few moments of having to stop for a few more directions. But you eventually come to this small but neat house, close-ish to the docks. You can smell the... this would be big enough to be seawater. So the salty air coming in. And you find the house that you're directed towards. It's kind of among a bunch of other houses that are similarly small, but neat and well taken care of.
So, before we go in and ask questions about this woman, I've just been thinking, how exactly do we know something is strange about her? We don't know what she was like before.
True. I would guess it feels like this is more of some kind of transformation. So...
Trestal, with that investigation check, you also would have picked up one of the people you talked to saying, "Oh yeah, Clara, she and Wasteler live over that way," and describes the house. And you pick up that she has somebody that she lives with. You're not given the relation, but there's somebody she's close to that she lives with.
Oh, okay. So, I mentioned the same to the others and say, if we have trouble understanding what's strange about her, we could simply talk to whoever else lives in this place and find out more.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, we can do the other person first.
Could be difficult to question them separately. I don't know. We'll see, I suppose, when we get inside.
Somebody that hides their true identity will not openly admit to it, so I think you guys have a point. We should talk to people close to them. Or compel to force them to tell the truth if all else fails.
Well, let's be calm and then head inside. How about that?
I wasn't talking about violence.
So, compelling usually sort of implies violence, Mort.
I can tap into the magic that makes them only tell the truth.
So, I like Tristel's idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then.
Well, that got awkward quickly. Okay, let's...
Here we go.
Let's go on.
Who's knocking on the door? Are you knocking on the door?
Trestle will go ahead and knock.
Okay. You hear coming from behind the door after you knock. Hey, just a minute! And little shuffling, some banging around. You hear something kick, and just comes in and opens the door, and you see this woman in this kind of like flannel shirt, overalls, hair, dark brown hair pulled back into a tight bun. What?
Greetings! We're, adventurers. We're new to this town, you see. We've heard so many fantastic and wonderful things about you. We've come to
Telling me
ask...
fantastic things about a fisherwoman.
I've heard of great things about the quality of your fish. Yes. We've come to ask a few questions if you have the time.
If you don't mind, I'm cooking dinner. Clara should be home soon. Yeah, about what?
Yes, about, it's convenient. About Clara, in fact. We wish to...
She's kind of gone from what the hell to very guarded.
It's just that, we heard that she had taken a trip recently, and so had several other people in this town. We wondered if there was something you might tell us about this trip of hers.
Make a persuasion check, please.
Yes. Where is persuasion?
27. Jesus.
Oh my god.
You see this kind
I'll
of...
tell you my life story.
Yeah, basically. You see this kind of look, this guarded look kind of drop from her face. All right, come in. We can talk while I cook.
He looks back and smiles at the others and then heads inside.
Give him a thumbs up.
I would like to sort of like stay in the background and look around the house while she's not looking and try to find the room of this Clara and possibly investigate her belongings, trying to find, well, either personal items of her or even some bushels of hair or something.
There is...
I'd like to hover on the doorstep, keeping... Actually, we don't know who Clara is, do we? Know what she looks like.
Nope.
She
I'll
did
hover in
say
the
she would
doorway.
Come home soon.
Okay.
I'll hover in the doorway.
Waisla kind of looks back. Are you just going to fly on the door like that? That's... Why don't you come in?
It's a bird. It doesn't speak. Just a bird.
I turn around and like, I do speak. I'm not a fan of dead fish. I will stay here.
Fair enough, I suppose. But do you mind closing the door? It gets a little drafty here.
Sure.
And I mean, this is Icewind Dale. It is cold. Nobody leaves their doors open.
I close it, but still stand very close to it. Is it like a little window?
No.
I can still block a doorway if someone opens it. I'll just stand in the doorway even though it's closed.
Mort, looking around, like I said, this place is fairly small, and it looks like there is, just a quick glance around, your perceptive bugger. There's, the main room is kind of both a kitchen and a common area. Kind of the kitchen ends on the left side, common area is on the right. There's a wood fire stove on the kitchen, and you see this pot kind of hanging over it right now, and you hear it start to bubble. It's a chopping board that has some vegetables and a fish carcass on it. And the other side is a couple of reclining chairs, or two reclining chairs near a fireplace, with a very small bookshelf to the side of it, and a kind of very simple table in between. There is one door to on the back wall that you assume might lead to a bedroom or something similar. There's also a trap door near in one of the corners of the kitchen that would probably leads to a root cellar or cold cellar of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you want to ask about my Clara?
Yes. Well, first of all, my name's Trastel. This here is my good companion, Peanut.
No.
And
We've
who,
been asking...
the other two.
Ah, of course. Excuse me. Well,
that brave-looking fellow with the large shoulders and tiny hand is Mort, and the bird we bring along is and he like drags on the and looks over at Peanut for a moment.
That's it. That's Rugon.
Yes.
Try to say it like a deep
There's
voice. Rugon. As deep as she can.
I see.
Bless you.
And she
Thank
kind
you,
of goes
Mort.
back to
Sweet.
chopping her vegetables. What did you want to know?
Peanut, do you want to ask?
So how do you know Clara?
She looks back at you and holds up her left hand, and you see a ring on one of her fingers.
Oh, how rude of me. I'm yeah.
Why are you here? You don't seem to know what you're asking. You come
The thing-
here, show up on my doorstep, claim to have questions about my wife, yet seem to know nothing about what's happening.
So we were just talking to Agnes the other day. Well, actually, not too long ago.
I see.
Oh, you don't like Agnes?
Agnes and I get along well enough. Denarian and Clara, not so much.
Why is that?
Rivalry, mostly. Clara is a bit strong-willed and very proud of her work. Denarian is the same. Naturally, they don't like each other. Until recently.
What happened?
They started liking each other. Spending time together, hanging out around town, been seen at East Side Inn together. It's just different.
Does that worry you?
Worry me how?
Well, I don't know. Like your wife doesn't get along with someone, and then suddenly they're close buddies.
She almost laughs. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? No, not Clara. It's simply a difference.
So, yeah. Well, did she tell you why they're suddenly good friends?
I asked her about it. She simply said that they had decided life was too short for fighting, and they had buried the hatchet.
Just a nods and like, oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah. Peanut agrees. I guess it's very
My
sweet.
wife does a great many things.
What about this trip that we've been hearing about? I asked you about it at the door. Isn't it true that Clara went on some sort of journey?
She was simply working in the mines for a few days longer than expected. That's all.
Had she told you about this before it happened?
No, which is unusual, but it has happened once or twice. We're both quite busy with our work, and sometimes I'm out longer than expected, or she's in the mines longer than expected. It does happen. Not usually for a day or two like that, but it does happen.
I see. And if any time that it's happened in the past, did you find some way to contact her? Maybe hear back from another worker who told you that she was staying longer?
Usually, but not always.
I see. And this time you didn't hear back from any other worker? You didn't
No.
message her?
I was starting to get worried, to be honest, but then she came back and all was well.
All was well.
Yes. Just different is all.
Oh. Different how?
Make a persuasion check as well, please.
Okay. Let me just. Wait. Oh, there you go.
There it is. 14.
Oh.
Not bad. Just. My wife has never been a passionate person beyond her work. but she was colder. Just not as close. I feel like something happened that she doesn't want to talk about. And I just hope that she trusts me enough to eventually tell me. I assume it has something to do with the mine, and that's why she's comfortable talking to Denarian about it, another miner.
Denarian is dead.
What? And she
I
turns
step back
around.
turn
into
around
the-
and look at her.
I step back
Pardon
into
me?
the living room after investigating her chambers.
Wait, did you actually go into her bedchambers?
If like I
door
said
was
before,
closed to
if
it.
I felt
Did you try to go into the bedchambers, Mort?
if I see them engaged in a conversation, I would have tried. Yes.
Make a stealth check, please. A 4. So as she's talking about Agnes being cold and just kind of looks over her shoulder to try and explain that more fully and sees your hand on the door handle. I'm sorry, may I help you with something?
I am looking for the toilet.
There's an outhouse out back.
Thank you.
And points
I
you
will
back
go
towards
there
the front
later.
door.
You've caught me. I was investigating.
I can see that.
You see,
Why are you investigating my wife?
because her friend that she recently got reacquainted with and her are both part of a murder investigation. Her friend
She
being the
very
big-
gently sets down the knife. Come again?
This fella is dead. Your
The
wife
man is
might...
dead.
Yes. Either your wife is in danger as well, or she has something to do with it. It is on us to determine what is going on.
I'll tell you right now, Claire did not kill anyone. And if she's in danger, could you kindly tell me what she's in danger from? Who killed him?
That we must find out. It appears they already found somebody responsible for it.
Then what are
But
you doing? Why
I
are you
doubt it.
coming to me with this?
As I said, we must conclude in our investigation. And for that, we must question her.
I will talk
Because
and
of
see
the
if she is
recent...
willing to speak with you. Where are you staying?
Right here.
Not in my house. No, you are not. In fact, you're about to leave my house.
I don't think so.
In fact, I might interrupt.
Make an intimidation check, please, Mort.
I'm playing the wrong character. All right. What's that?
4. Great.
And she kind of picks up the knife again.
Oh no.
I don't know what your intentions are, but you've come in here claiming my wife might have something to do with murder. Either explain yourself immediately or leave.
I believe we already explained ourselves.
You've done nothing of the kind.
We are investigating a murder.
If Claire wishes to speak with you, she'll find you. Get out.
If I may, before we
No.
leave, a quick word, very
No.
quick.
Leave and take your friend with you.
I suggest you should go on a walk. And I cast suggestion.
Is there a save to that?
Yes, there is there is a save. So she has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Nope. Just a quick note for suggestion: when it's over, I do believe they know that they've been manipulated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a wisdom save. And
That's a fail. It doesn't really matter what your save DC is. That's a fail. And she's kind of looking at you, almost panicked, as her legs start, of their own accord, walking out the front door into Rugan. As she starts walking towards the docks.
Aren't you going with her?
Should we go with her?
Still holding the knife, I might add.
What did you do?
It's just a simple suggestion. I mean,
Thank you
of course,
very much for helping me out. This conversation was a doozy.
Oh my god.
Mort knows I didn't mean any harm.
Yeah, but
do
Mort
you-
is not the smartest cookie in the jar.
I believe that Tristel was just diffusing the tension that was rising between us.
Do you want me to go and stop her? Or what's your plan here?
No, we investigate the house and then wait for the Clara to return.
Just
Tristel,
walking.
does that spell last a minute or an hour? I forget.
8 hours.
8 hours. Up to 8 hours. You scared me with that. Jesus.
Okay, 8 hours, and 8 hours are until they complete the task, if I recall.
But the task is just going for a walk, yeah?
Right.
So, okay.
So
If she's
she
an
won't be
overarm.
walking for 8 hours. That's not
Sure.
quite how the spell works. You might have a to the docks and back, or what she would consider going for a walk.
Okay. I'll continue to hover by the door and looking out for her this time.
Sounds like a smart idea.
Can I now check that bedroom?
Yeah, of course. It's
Is there
unlocked.
anything of note?
Make an investigation check.
Oh, 5.
5. It is a bedroom. There is a bed there. There is also a wardrobe with clothes in it.
Oh my god, clothes.
You do
Disgusting.
notice,
Yes.
like, looking through the clothes, it's utilitarian. There's a lot of flannel, there's a lot of denim, there's a lot of thick leather. Like, this is the wardrobe of a family that definitely works hard for a living.
Is there any hairbrush?
Yes, there's a hairbrush.
With the same color of hairs in it than the person that just left? Or different?
I just rolled for something. You see 2 hairbrushes, both
Yes.
with the same color of hair. Or at least near enough same color of hair.
Inconclusive.
Inconclusive.
Take them both.
Surmising from the clothes in that drawer, is there a set of clothing that doesn't look to be fitting for the person that just left?
Maybe like mining attire.
That
right?
investigation check.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
There does seem to be kind of a split in the wardrobe. You kind of have like bottoms, tops, and then that pattern repeating again. So it's very clearly 2 different people, but it's 2 people with very similar taste.
I just picked up the hair that looks slightly different from the ones that
Okay.
are. Yeah.
Can you make a perception check for me? This one's not passive.
Sure.
So you're actively trying to do something with it.
9.
9. Okay. Good to know.
If you ever
It was
want some
a
perception,
trapdoor, right?
you could always ask me to not keep standing by the door. I'm fairly good at perception too.
speaking of, as you're standing
Yeah.
by the door, did you close the door again after her, by the way, or is it still wide open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a giant bird standing in a doorway is a bit of a giveaway. So
Yeah. As you're standing around and Mort is going through the woman's bedroom, a lady comes up to you, Rugon. She is...
So you mean I'm outside the door?
Are you outside or are you inside?
Actually, it would have made more sense to stand outside. There was no window. So yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't specified, but that would make way more
You said
sense.
you were keeping quiet, so I assumed that you were outside.
Yeah, no, it'd make more sense. Yeah.
A woman comes up to you, and what you're actually kind of getting is the style here for a lot of the women. Her hair is also pulled back very, very tight into a really long braid that goes down her back almost to her hips. Dark, almost black hair, wearing leather armor, has daggers and a bow across her back.
Okay.
You stand out, Birdman.
That's what I'm good at. Who might you be?
Not important.
Uh,
Wanted
think
to
it was-
mention that you should probably stop what you're doing.
standing in front of a
And
door.
she walks off.
Well, that was surreal. I could cast Hold Person on her.
Go for it.
That seems overkill. I don't know.
Well, you have a woman wandering around in the streets with a knife right now, so
All right. Yeah, I will. In that case, I mean, we are. I needed a short rest to get my Kai points back, so I was like, that was weird, and I summon a strong wind suddenly blows in her direction.
okay.
And
Yeah, take that, woman.
I succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. DC 16.
DC 16, Wisdom saving throw. You got it. And what happens on a fail?
She's paralyzed for 1 minute.
Can she repeat the save at any point?
At the end of each of its turns.
Okay. So as
yeah.
this wind kind of pushes against her, it almost holds her in place for a moment. And you see her kind of moving to try and get out of it.
But in the intervening period, I'll try and go up to her.
Yeah. So
like
in
stand
those
in front of her.
6 seconds,
Yeah.
because that's around, you start making your way towards her. And then she's able to almost push through the wind. And she tosses her hair so the braid flies over her shoulder, looks back at you, smiles, and continues on her way.
I am pretty fast. I'm gonna run in front of her and block her way.
Just giving you advice, Birdman.
I would like a name.
There's just a smile. Ask around.
Ask around for the random woman who walks around making strange statements. Okay.
Ask around for the best huntress in town. They'll know who it is.
Okay. Do you care to elaborate on what you just said?
No.
No. Right. Well, pleasure to make your acquaintance. Even if you do make a living out of killing innocent creatures.
Who says they're all innocent?
Me.
I'd best be leaving if I were you. And she walks off.
I kind of walk back towards the door, scratching my head, and I do have talons, so...
It's almost like preening through your head feathers.
Yeah.
Tristel and Peanut, are you doing anything while a bedroom is being ransacked and mystery women are talking to a bird?
I mean, there was a trap door in the kitchen, right?
Yes, there was.
Can I open it?
Yeah, of course. You open it. There's no resistance. It's not locked. It's not latched. There's
Right.
a short ladder heading down to what smells like a cellar.
Okay, Crystal. Yeah, want to go in?
He's like sort of nervously walking and pacing around the area, and is not properly investigating anything. But he looks back over it and says, "Oh yes, of course," as if he's just realized what he's supposed to be doing. So.
Beautiful. So as you go down,
If you're too afraid, I can do it myself. Or
No. That's we should both work on this together.
there we go. Enya, you're breaking up just a little bit, my dear.
yeah, there's some connection issues. Is it better now?
I can understand that sentence, so yes, that's an improvement. Berlin internet, gotta love it. So you make your way down the cellar. I believe both of you have dark vision. It's a cellar. You see a couple of shelves along the wall. This is actually stone down here rather than wood. And it's colder. This is a place intended to keep things cold. You see on one shelf there is some produce, some vegetables, some herbs that have been collected. You see a basket of mushrooms over on one side. On another wall you see one or two fish that have been left down in the cold to keep for maybe tomorrow's lunch, or get tossed in for an overnight stew or something for tomorrow. Right. Nothing overly suspicious. There is a cask in the corner that probably has some ale in it.
So I mean, Trestle, since he's down there, he will try to give a generally more thorough investigation of the area, just to see if there's anything.
Cool. Make an
Other place?
investigation check for me, please.
He shall do. 9.
9. It's not awful, but it's a basement cellar.
Yeah, I think he's distracted. He's like, he arrives down and he's still a little bit nervous. And as he's sort of wandering over, it still seems a little bit like he's not really certain himself as to what he's looking for. So he just starts talking and says, "So, well, how did you start adventuring?"
So, Pina just, slowly turns her head towards him, blinks a few times, and decides to just go with it. Like, odd place for small talk, but yeah. And the forest I come from, it's a really pretty forest. You would love it. You could sing with the birds and things. But some of the plants became a bit purple in a bad way. So I'm trying to fix this. Well, how about you? Are you sure you're okay, by the way? You can tell me. You can trust me.
Okay. Well, I don't know why you would ask such a question as that. I'm terribly sorry to hear about the colors on the plants. I see strange colors sometimes too.
Oh.
Anyway, I started adventuring when I was a little bit younger. One time, you see, my father, he used to tell me bedtime stories about adventurers and magic. It was so fascinating to me. And on one occasion, I asked him, "Father, can I go adventuring too one day?" And he says, No, Trestle, you're too young for that. You're too small. Sit here and listen to your bedtime stories. But then I said, "Father, I'm old enough. I'm 30 years old now. I'm going to adventure, and I'm going to find out something amazing." And so I'm here.
That is a heartwarming story. So what was that about the colors you see?
Oh, sometimes it's just a thing.
Peanut is starting to feel uncomfortable being alone with this guy.
Who's bothering you?
So I think we should go back upstairs.
Okay.
Sometimes the colors
help
whisper
you
to me.
up
Yes,
better?
upstairs.
So as you go upstairs, so
Ruga!
this is about the same time that Mort you'd be finishing with your investigation as well. So the three of you kind of reconvene back in the main room.
What did you do, music boy?
Well, I found out lots of important things about our investigation. I mean, about Peanut. Yes, it was an interesting story.
I was more referring to why she has this disturbed look on her face, not what you actually found out.
Maybe she's just excited about the music that I will write of our adventure.
I just look
He
at
loves
both
those,
of
man.
them. Like, where's Rue? Where's Rugan?
Right, so yeah.
Maybe at this point I'll come in the doorway and be like, I just met the strangest person.
I sort of look at both of them.
Yeah, actually,
And then
sorry. I should clarify. I just met another strange person. She was claimed to be a hunter and was telling us to stop doing what we're doing.
Okay, shall we just go back to where we came from? She
Do we
seems
want to?
convincing.
Do we want to wait to speak to Clara, or?
I mean, what do you think? I would like to speak to her.
Okay. Just all sit looking casual in someone else's house.
There's only 2 chairs, so
I'm old. I deserve one. So I sit on the chair.
I just like squat in the corner.
okay.
I take care that the whatever's cooking there won't cook over.
Oh, so considerate.
Make a. Unless you
roll.
happen to be
Survival.
proficient with cook's tools.
What do I do?
Unless you
What
happen to
happened?
be proficient with cook's tools, can you please do a? Let's just do straight up wisdom check.
Well, okay. How do I just do a normal wisdom check here?
Should just be able
You
to
just
click
hover
wisdom.
above your score, basically.
Yeah.
Well, it does a saving throw then.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just subtract whatever we need to. Not a big deal.
Ooh.
What is your actual wisdom modifier?
+5.
+5, so that's an 11 then. So, I mean, nothing burns.
Oh no, sorry. My actual wisdom modifier is +10.
You have a 30 in wisdom.
Oh, sorry. No, it says here +10. It must be +5 and then proficiency in wisdom saving
Okay.
throws. Yeah, so it's +5. Yeah.
Plus
sorry.
5. Okay, so yeah, an 11. Yeah. Nothing burns. There is a moment where the rest of you kind of smell like that carbony. It's just on the edge of it, but you take it out off right at the right time, and it's okay. The vegetables that were being prepped have not been added. No herbs been added. It's mostly just fish and water right now, but it's not burnt fish and water.
That sort of describes my real life cooking experience as well.
But about the time that you take it off, and this has been a good 20, 25 minutes of you all just kind of sitting somewhat awkwardly while Mort, of all people, is trying to attend to the food. And then another woman comes through the door. Also dressed in a thick flannel shirt and these almost leather overalls. And you see dust on her face and down her arms. She comes in, this actually red hair, which is unique for this area. Kind of, again, that style pulled into a tight braid, but this one's only down to the base of her neck. Comes in, sees you all. Where the fuck's Waisla?
Where's she standing?
She's in the doorway. She
Oh, okay.
comes in and sees this motley crew.
Dinner
went out
is
for a
ready.
walk.
It's not true. It's not a lie.
She invited us to dinner. She asked us to wait while she collects something.
She went to get some fresh air.
One of you make. Okay, this would be persuasion with disadvantage, but since you're both helping out, one of you make a just straight persuasion check, please.
I will gladly do that.
Okay. 34.
Nice.
Holy crap. So just a reminder that even with a natural 20, people will act outside of their normal behavior. They'd just be as favorable to you as possible. Why the fuck she'd do that? As she comes in, she's not... She believes you for the moment, but she's just... That's weird.
Oh, she's such a lovely woman. She told us all about you and said so many good things.
Huh? So why are you here?
Oh, you know, passing by. How was your day?
Fine.
How was your week?
Who are you exactly?
Can we get to the point, Tristel?
Well, it's just we're passing by because you see we're part of an investigation group. The truth is that we want to know, well, more about your recent travels. You said that you were.
I traveled to the mine and back.
Yes, you stayed an extra bit of time recently in the mine. Isn't this true?
It happens.
Why did it happen this time?
Find a vein. Decide to camp up there for an extra day or two to work it.
I
Not
see.
that unusual.
Was Denarian with you?
That particular time, no.
We've heard that it's just you've become very good friends with Denarian recently. We're just curious as to why.
We decided to bury the hatchet. Life's too short to hate each other.
Inside check.
Go for it.
$25.
Oh my god.
Wow. It sounds good. It also sounds very rehearsed.
Well, if you have nothing to hide from us, you certainly would agree if we keep on asking you a few more questions to the whereabouts or things that happened to you and your friend last week, no?
May I ask why you're curious about this?
With the Inquisition, we ask the questions.
The what?
I cast Zone of Truth.
There's a save for that as well, I believe, yeah?
Charisma.
Okay. Are you aware if they succeed or not on the save?
Yep.
She fails.
Okay, but she's also aware that that thing has been casted. And she has to answer truthfully, but she doesn't, the affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering questions to which if would normally respond with a lie. So you can be evasive as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
Okay. May I ask what you're doing?
Yes, you may.
What are you doing?
We are investigating the murder
I
of
heard about that on my way
your
into
companion.
town. Why the hell
I
would
ask you again, why did you bury the hatchet? It seems to be out of character.
saw no reason to continue fighting with him.
And why is that?
About that time, because it's been about an hour since Waisla went for her walk, the door slams open, and you see Waisla and 2 town guards standing behind her. There they are. They said they were here on official business, and they did something, and I don't know. Clara, are you okay? And she runs over to Clara and just hugs her. As
They
the
all have to
guard
make
comes
a
in
charisma saving
and
throw.
what is going on here?
They're all in the zone of truth, by the way.
The guards aren't.
they all
They're
have-
still in the doorway.
Hold on. How big is this house?
Not that big. But, I mean, Clara wasn't just standing in the doorway the whole time.
Oh, she wasn't. Oh. I wanted to block that door.
It's a 15-foot sphere
Okay, yeah.
radius. So, yeah.
With Peanut taking the chair, she would have kind of retreated to the other far end, so would have ended up in the kitchen, but kind of the opposite wall from where you are, Mort.
Okay.
Apologies if I did not make that clear, but no, she wasn't just standing awkwardly in the doorway of her own home while she was being interrogated.
Well, I mean, you just said that she's hugging her, so if
Yeah.
she's in
So
there,
Waisla's
then...
definitely in the zone of truth now, yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
The guards, however, are not. They're still in the doorway.
So, regarding the guards,
Yeah.
Trestle like very quickly moves or like shifts his attention towards them rather than the other 2 in the circle, and says, "We are here on official business. Yes, yes. Which of you 2 is in charge?"
That would be me. And one of the guards kind of steps forward. Again, what the hell are you doing? Why are you bothering our citizens?
So,
Oh, by the way, you can also not lie.
oh,
I mean,
Wait, do I get a save, though?
if you succeed the save, you can, but you have to roll first.
oh my god. Oh my.
Oh, this
so,
is wonderful.
charisma saving throw.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be fine for you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty decent for me.
The one
16.
time you get a low roll.
Yeah, 16.
16 doesn't save.
Oh,
Hey!
if you could please tell the truth of why you're bothering these nice citizens of this town.
You can be evasive, though. I mean,
Okay,
you can
okay.
also tell the truth and show the letters, right?
Right.
First of all, to the one who said he was in charge, Trestle will cast Friends. It's a cantrip. Let me read out something off it. From what I remember, it gives me advantage on all charisma-related checks directed towards one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you use magic to influence its mood and becomes hostile towards you.
Okay.
A creature prone to violence might attack you. Another creature might seek
How
with
long does that spell
retribution
last
in
again?
its
Minute.
A minute? Okay.
minute. Yeah. So yeah, he says he like pulls out the seal that he got earlier and says, "It's true. We're here on official business. You see, we're investigating a certain murder that took place recently, and frankly speaking, you're looking at 2 suspects before you." And he like gestures towards the 2 women. "Now, please let us conduct our business. We'll be quick about it."
The
Was it
guard
okay?
that, and the second guard is about to step forward and say, "No, you're not." And the first one, "Nope, nope. Just do your business. That's a proper seal, but we're watching you."
We're watching you.
And they're still standing in the doorway. They're kind of blocking you in as much as anything else at the same time.
He turns to Mort and says, "We have to be quick."
Shall we continue?
With what? Waisla steps forward in front of her wife right now. It's like, what are you doing? Just leave us alone.
When you and sorry, I keep forgetting that name.
Clara.
No, the guy that died.
Denarian.
Oh,
When you and Narian went to the mines together a week ago, what happened when you came out?
We didn't go to the mines together a week ago. I already told you that. He was not with me that time. He was
Are you
off
the real Clara?
hunting with his friend, as far as I know.
And what happened when you went to the mines?
Correction. He was the. I'm gonna make a correction. What you as player know is different. What she actually would have said was, I was told that he was off hunting with his friend.
Ooh.
Shush. Player knowledge. Shh.
Who told you
Some of my
to
friends.
say that? Who are these friends?
Other miners.
Give me names.
Fine. Fuck you. Hate you so much. Rory was part of it. The Amy. Yeah, I think those two, the first ones that told me that they're off hunting.
Where can I find them?
Their house is over on the east side of town.
Wait.
So your spell,
Are you the real Clara?
you know that you have about 5 seconds left on this spell, by the way, Trestle.
Then yeah. Are you the real Clara?
Who the hell do you think I am?
Not
And
the
at
real
that
Clara.
point,
Answer the question.
The guard steps forward. Wait a minute. You out now.
Yes, we were on our way. It's just
And-
we're finished the official business.
Yeah, they step in front of the two women. They're probably in the zone of truth now as well. But they start kind of herding the four of you out of the building unless you actively resist.
I would
not
like
be
to have an
herded.
answer to that question.
I would like you to leave.
I don't care.
And we'll be talking to Shaylin about maybe rescinding that permission you have there. Out.
It's a Mexican standoff, eh?
You've been casting spells on our citizens. You need to leave immediately. That piece of paper gets you so far, but you need to leave now.
Sure.
If you
Because we
don't
have a-
leave, they will. Both of their hands start going to their swords.
We have a suspicion that maybe something is being cast on your citizens that isn't us.
Then maybe you can investigate that somewhere else.
Look, officer, I am
what
a
we're
man of
attempting to
They step forward
Inquisition.
again.
You are all under a zone of truth. We cannot physically lie. I am telling you that these people here are
I don't care
suspicious.
what magic you have under whatever. You are leaving right now.
Right. Peanut steps in. He's like, "Nah, you wouldn't hurt an old lady now, would you?" And she makes sure to really use her staff, like really like, ah.
Not if we don't have to.
Is that guard hostile towards all of us or only towards Tristal?
Towards Trestle, but he's clearly part of your group.
He's with the other weirdos.
Basically, yeah.
I mean,
I
it
can
is up
take
to
him.
you. I am prepared to take this stand, but if you rather not fight, then I will gladly drop the spell and come with you.
I think it might be wise to, sometimes retreat is a good option. Is a wise move to make.
We're also not really getting anywhere here. So.
I think we also have our answer.
Okay.
Good. Then you can leave now. And they take another step forward.
It's hard to leave when you're standing there.
They moved around in front of the girls. So kind of, as soon as the leader kind of realized that you were using spells on all of them to make them comply, they moved between your group and the two women.
Yeah, but they're in the way of the door, aren't they?
No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Because the women are here, you guys were kind of over here. The door is down here, so they moved from the doorway up in front of. There we go. Looking at my own screen, it's like trying to shave in the mirror. So they stood in front of the women, and the path to the door is clear, and they're kind of like angling around and almost herd you out. The piece of paper is keeping them from attacking or arresting you directly right now, but they want you to leave.
Shall we? Nothing to gain here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, then out you
Thanks, my
go.
friends.
Like, when we have a moment to ourselves, I'm gonna cast Scrying, obviously.
Okay, so do you all
What does that
leave
do?
is really the first thing, because none of you have said you've left yet.
I was waiting for someone else to corroborate it, but it's like, yeah, maybe.
That's kind of what I was waiting for there, was the, so are you leaving? So you all eventually leave, and the guards follow you and close the door behind you, and they actually stand guard outside of the door.
So, Mort, you think we have an answer to a question? Did I miss something?
I think she was willfully dodging the answer to the question if she's the real Clara. But to confirm our suspicions, I can spy on her without her noticing.
I'm still a little confused. I don't really know what to believe here.
I mean, I think we're still poking a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I would still like to cast Scrying,
Okay.
if that's possible.
Where are you going to do that? After this point, it is dusk. The sun is setting. It's not that particularly late. You're just really far north.
I think I would do that when I have a moment whilst I was going to do the graveyard thing later.
Okay. Are the rest of you accompanying him to the graveyard? Do you want them to accompany you, or are you?
No need. No,
I don't think I want to. But
I'm good.
I think,
well,
Tessa's like, I'm too
We'll
tired.
meet up later in the tavern,
Okay.
something like that.
So the other three of you head to the tavern. Mort, we'll go with you first. Doesn't take long to ask around. You do find a local graveyard. It's not particularly large. You do see, kind of on the outside of it, the symbol of, I'm blanking on his name, Cullenvar, I believe. The god of death. It's pretty common to mark on grave sites as almost a protection for the dead inside. Entering it, there's not really mausoleums per se, but there are some basic carved gravestones set in neat rows. Some of them appear older, but this isn't an ancient town.
Yeah.
You can kind of find a corner of it that's against the encroaching woods that's a little bit overshadowed if you wish to use that. It'd be more out of the way.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So what do you find this corner? It's getting quite dark now. If you don't have dark vision, it is difficult to see.
I do have dark vision.
Okay. Everything's in shades of gray. As you begin setting up this shrine in this kind of tucked away corner of the graveyard of Trimlane, what does it look like? What are you putting there?
I'm going to put a little symbol of the scrivener there, and a little statuette of it that I keep as a keepsake, as a symbol. And I'll write some runes in blood. And yeah, I just sit there or hover there while I also then cast Scrying on Clara.
Okay. And that is a wisdom save, correct?
Yes. I believe so.
Okay. So you've cast this before. It's the scrivener, then record keeper. Your eyes go blank. And this, like, in the darkness, this scroll kind of unwinds in front of you with a map of the world on it. And it's almost like you're diving headfirst into the scroll, into this record of the world. And as you zoom in and you get closer and closer and you see 10 towns and the spine of the world and you're going towards the mountains, there is this tearing sound as you find yourself shooting backwards again, and the parchment that this map was on that you were exploring looks to be torn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're unable to find your target for the scry for whatever reason.
Is that due to she failing she making the save because she has -10 on the saving throw if I have a body part or a lock of hair or something like that?
Roll a d20 for me, please.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep. I
rolled a 1.
Okay. So retcon that slightly, because I did not know about the body part thing. Scry is a newer spell for me. As you are going into the scroll and going into 10 towns, and this like papery texture gives way to a more realistic view, you go into the house that you were just in, and you are over the shoulder of Waisla as she is cleaning the pot after dinner.
That's the wrong hair.
Mm-hmm.
And is she alone?
You hear her talking, but you can't see the other person. And it's just I have no idea who those strangers were. Hopefully the guards keep them from bothering us again. Are you okay? Just kind of this, and it almost loops. It's the patter of somebody that's worried and is just talking to fill the space while they're worried.
But I assume she's talking to Clara and that she's responding with like calming her down and stuff like that.
It's a good assumption. It's hard to, because of how focused Scry is, it's hard to...
I can hear and see everything that the person sees and or hears.
Again, sorry, you spelled to me. Yeah, you do hear responses from Clara, and it is... You remember her mentioning that Clara seemed colder.
Mm.
And like the rehearsed line that you picked up on before, especially since you're looking for it, it's all the right things to say with none of the emotion behind it.
Mm. Okay, and with that, I'll come back, and then I'll start my way towards the tavern where these three are.
As the scene plays out and just kind of goes into that loop of worried couples and trying to reassure, you come back out, and the parchment scroll rolls itself up again as you come back to reality and head back to the tavern. So this is all taking a bit of time. You three, what were you doing in the tavern? Anything in particular?
Discussing.
Okay.
Not somewhat unclear about what could be going on here, because it seems like something strange, but it's impenetrable to figure out quite what it is. So maybe just throwing around ideas with each other.
I think even before we even sit down, Trestle makes some excuse to, I presume we're staying in the tavern, so he makes some excuse to head up to the rooms and not be at that table for the conversation. He goes straight to bed.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Or reasons.
Yeah,
All
as
right,
soon
fair
as
enough.
Tristel is out of sight, because Peanut has been worried about this guy now. she informs Rugan, who she trusts a lot more.
Well, Peter, Tiga's read this tablet on our own. Should we just go find a nice tree somewhere? Sleep there. Be much more comfortable. I don't know. These humans are strange.
I personally do enjoy the comfort of a bed.
Okay, fair enough.
And
Not
I
very
would
comfortable
prefer
for me. But.
You stayed close to me because that Driscoll boy, he told me he sees colors. I don't think he should see colors.
Depends how literally you take that statement, I suppose. But I don't know. What do you think? You know, I'm not one for figuring out mystical mysteries. I don't know. I'm a little uncertain.
That is true. But you try your best. I know you do. And she gives him a little pat.
But what do you think?
So, I'm kind of... I thought Mort was the weird one of the two. I'm not super sure anymore.
I meant, well, what do you think is happening in this town?
Oh, everyone's nuts. Oh, boy, let me tell you, back where I'm come from, this would have not happened. You know, wives murdering husbands, claiming it's not their husband. You know, people going for a walk with a knife. It's just not normal.
Okay. We seem to have thrown ourselves in to help, though. I don't really know what we're going to get out of it, but we do seem to have thrown ourselves in to help. There were more people we could speak to. There were other members of who went missing and things like that. I wonder if any of them are here in the inn.
Right. What was his name again? Alden. Alden.
Yeah, right.
She said it. She said it sort of louder. Alden.
Alden. Yeah. Actually, she says that rather loudly. Rugan, you do notice that there are a couple pairs of eyes that look up and then back to what they're doing.
A couple of pairs? Are they together?
Just one or two throughout the inn.
What do they look like?
People? There's nothing distinguishing about them from the rest of the crowd that's there tonight.
Okay. You can't tell what their trade is or anything like that from the way they're dressed?
They're tradespeople. One of them, actually both of them, appear to be in more utilitarian clothing. So not like, I always forget her name, Shaylin that you talked to earlier that was in a nicer dress. They're dressed a bit more like Clara and Wasteland were. They're there to do work.
What was the person's name again? Sorry, Peanut. Or character or person. What was the name again?
Of who?
Elran?
Alden.
Alden is the other miner, the friend of Denarian that also went missing about the same time. They said
Alden.
it's just they were out hunting.
I think I'm not intimidating. This is always a weird thing when you play creatures like this in D&D. You're not intimidating, but you kind of are.
Yeah,
but anyway, so I'm just gonna maybe, I don't know. It's like Peanut. Did you notice those people looked up when you said that? I mean, I know you were loud, but maybe we should just go talk to them. We've got nothing to lose.
I think that's a really good idea. Who were those people who looked up? Well,
I sort of kind of like point gesture in one direction and another direction.
I go towards one of the directions.
Okay. And you come up to, looks to be a kind of grizzled man in his mid-30s. As you get closer, you notice he has kind of the dust covering his arms like Clara did, and you gather he's probably a miner as well.
Dear, do you mind if I bother you for a moment?
Yeah, can I help you, Mistress Gnome?
I'm looking for a certain fella named Alden.
Yeah, heard. Sorry, I just didn't expect such a loud voice from such a And he kind of stops himself trying to find a not insulting word to use next.
It's okay. You don't have to finish that sentence.
Petite. Lovely lady. Yeah, Alden. He lives actually a couple blocks from here.
Dude,
Why
are
do
you
you
a
need
friend
to
of him?
talk to him?
Oh, he's a friend of a friend. You know how it goes.
Oh. Okay.
Do you know him well?
I mean, we're both minors. We work together sometimes. That's it.
Oh, so you know Clara?
Yeah, she's an interesting one.
Oh, she's a really good friend of ours. Right, we're gone.
Yeah.
Funny, she's never mentioned being friends with a gnome and a bird before. Make a deception
Yeah.
check, please.
Who?
The one that's trying to be deceptive. Peanut.
Oh, right.
Go for that.
Oh boy.
17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. She's
Easy.
never mentioned you two before.
I guess, some people react the wrong way when you talk about gnomes and bird people.
I guess.
So, we're looking for our other friend of a friend, Alden.
Yeah.
'Cause I heard he's not doing too well.
Really? Who told you that?
Oh, Clara.
Huh. I mean, if you want to check on him, he's just a block down that way, and he kind of points out the door and off a little bit further south. It's the
So-
house with the green window shutter things. It's hard to miss.
Oh, thank you. You're a really nice, charming young man.
And he gives you this look like he has never been called a charming young man in his life. Thanks.
You're very welcome.
I'm
Tina
gonna
just
go back
walks
to my
away.
beard. Okay.
I just give him a beady stare.
What do you think? Should we go check it out or should we wait? I mean,
I'm not
Crystal was very
particularly
tired.
I'm not particularly a fan of inns, so let's go. What time is it? Game time.
By this time, it's about 7, but it is dark.
That's all right. Okay, that's
Oh.
fine. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of people out. You notice once it gets dark, the temperature, you know how far north you are very quickly.
Oh.
It's not bitter cold, deathly, but it's quite cold out. Most people have found their way in for the night. But there are some streetlights. You can find your way over to Alden's house if you wish.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
So as you head to Alden's house, Smort would be getting back soonish. Trestle, what you doing, buddy?
Yes, what are you doing?
He genuinely does go to the room and he starts to unpack his things. And as he does so, he reaches into his bag and very slowly and with a great deal of care and respect for what he's holding, he lifts out this thick, leathery, old, book, this grimoire, this attachment of all these heavy, thick pages. And he starts opening it up and flicking through some pages. He does it in a slow, ritualistic manner. Even he does this all the time. And he eventually shuts the book and lies down in the bed, closes his eyes, and then only a moment later, he opens them again. But this time his eye color has changed. It's got like a much more blackish hue to it.
Yep.
And he gets up and takes up this book again. And he looks out towards whatever window he can see and just stares towards the moon. Mm-hmm. And he sort of waits for presumably Mort to get back to the tavern.
Okay. As you're staring up at the moon, you could swear for just a brief moment that it looks like these shadowy, almost tentacles are climbing their way across the moon. And then you blink and it's back to normal.
He starts whispering some things to himself as if he's just figured something out. Of course. And starts like looking again at his book and then back towards the moon. And he waits.
Another moment passes. And as you're looking up at the moon, you catch at the bottom corner of your eye the shadows on the floorboards right at the corner start climbing their way up and twisting around each other again like tendrils or tentacles climbing their way up. And again, you blink and they're gone. Back to normal.
These secrets, they whisper to me. There is, yes, the dreams they spoke true, the dreams they have told me. Of course, the cosmos. I can see there is something new, something unraveling in this town.
And as you're doing this, the night sky, as you keep looking back up out the window, one star goes out, another star goes out, another one goes out. Mort! You come back to the inn, and no one is around, apparently.
Ah, nice.
There's a couple patrons there finishing dinner, having a evening ale before heading home. But none of your... I'm going to use friends loosely here for a moment. Appear to be around.
Do I know where our rooms are?
Yes.
I think Mort would go up either to be alone in his room, but he would check the other rooms. Like he would knock to see if someone's there.
Okay. You, Trustle, as these stars are going out one by one, you hear a knock and you blink and all the stars are back. And you hear that knock behind you.
Without speaking, he only shifts his head slightly and uses the spell that I can't remember, thaumaturgy, and the door swings open.
Okay. Mort, the door swings open. You see Trustle standing there, book in hand, staring out the window.
Ah, say no more, I see. And I use my staff to thaumaturgy the door shut.
Companion, you have led us with your dreams to a most fitting position in this world, a most aligning perfection of secrets and whispers that will bring us to higher planes. I can see now we can achieve great things here.
It's glad to talk to you again. I'm glad to talk to you again.
Indeed, that one Trustle lies dreaming. Now we are awake.
I must admit, I prefer your presence over the music boy.
What is it you have found?
I have confirmed my suspicions. The wife is an outsider, but this Clara is probably very connected to all of this. I shall once more pry into their privacy before I will rest for the night. I doubt anything will come of it. Tomorrow we must investigate the others, the names that they gave up unwilling, and probably venture forth into the mines, as I think our fate inevitably will lead us underneath.
Yes, the mines. I believe they may have been the source of this infection of wonder upon this town. I believe we should, the ones who have been affected and changed, they are the source of knowledge. They may not be our enemies, but a means to an end and to discovery of higher things. What do you make of these other two who travel with us now?
They do seem to be unlikely travel companions, but so are we.
It's true, and they seem unenlightened, not like we two. But I believe we can cooperate.
I concur. Do you, by any chance, have the impression that what afflicts these townsfolk is the result of a curse of sorts, or something more outworldish?
I have spoken to the dark. I do not think there is any human voice behind it. It seems unknowable to those of intelligences not quite like ours.
Curious. I think tomorrow we'll find out the truth. And we'll mask your existence until the right time and not reveal our mutual secret.
Indeed. When I rest next, I shall return to my dreams. If by any circumstances you need my assistance, simply make sure that Trestle sleeps, and I shall return.
As is tradition.
It is spoken.
And with that,
And he opens his book and turns towards it.
and as that pact is reaffirmed, we're going to move to let you wrap for the evening, and we will move to Peanut and Rugan. 5-minute walk. It's literally 2 blocks away. You find the house with the green shutters on it. Appears to be a light coming through the window, so someone is probably home.
I knock on the door.
Okay. I was about to suggest the classic front door, back door routine, but okay.
Oh, yeah, if you want.
If there is such a thing in this apartment, this building. Oh, too late.
What do you want, Slate?
We're hunting enthusiasts. We heard you like hunting too.
Come back in the morning.
We want to go hunting in the morning.
See this door crack open just a little tiny bit. There's a man standing behind it that is disheveled. Like, his stubble's growing. The shirt clearly has dust from probably more than just today on it. It's been unbuttoned down. He's probably getting ready to turn in or at least not deal with anything for the rest of the night. What?
Does he smell?
Yeah, maybe. Sorry.
Kind of looks
GM,
out and then looks down.
GM question. I need a reminder. I have a terrible memory for names. What's the name of the guy who was murdered again?
Denarian.
Denarian. This is like push in the door, push it behind us. Like, we want to go to the same place that you and Denarian went to.
Can you make a strength check as you try and push your way through the door? You are essentially breaking and entering after dark right now.
At least we're not using spells.
Yeah, right. You're the good
Strength.
guys? Question mark.
A strength check.
Strength, please.
Eesh.
Or athletics.
13.
13. Not bad.
Oh, athletics. Well, athletics will be a lot higher.
Okay.
So let's do athletics.
I kind of forgot athletics.
Oh,
was
maybe
a thing.
not. No.
We'll keep your first roll. We'll keep your first
A
roll.
lot higher.
Yeah.
Uh,
First one, but add a 4 if you
so
like.
yeah,
I don't know.
you kind of catch him by surprise and shove your way in. This place is kind of a wreck. It's clearly not been cared for very well. What do you want?
As I said, we would like to go to the same place that you and Denarian went
I
to.
would like you to make a deception check, please.
I'm not lying.
Then make a persuasion check. One of the two.
They're both as bad as each other. So. Oh wow,
Zero.
Oi.
I don't know if you heard, but Denarian was killed today
Yeah, we're investigating that.
by asking to go hunting with me.
No, we would like to know more about that trip.
You could have started with that.
Would you have let us in?
Probably not. But you didn't give me a lot of choice in the matter anyways.
It's late, as you said.
Right, so let's make this quick
It's
then.
probably easier.
What do you want to know?
What did you find out there?
Not a whole hell of a lot. It wasn't a good trip.
Did you or Denarian feel different when you came back?
Well, I mean, it probably was a bit colder. He tripped and face planted in the snow while we were out there. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you bipeds. Yeah. Peanut?
So where did you say you went to again?
It's due east of here.
East, huh? So you didn't catch anything nice?
No,
You go hunting often?
on occasion.
Do you always go with your dead body?
Well, I probably won't anymore.
Yes. My condolences, by the way.
Do you ever go hunting with a woman?
Kind of takes a look at you. How do you mean?
I mean, a woman to go hunting with, nothing else.
Haven't had the pleasure recently, no.
Okay. What did that woman look? Oh, the woman with she had the long braid, yeah. Okay. Have you been hunting with a woman from town before?
Long time ago. Yeah, that's my own story.
Fair enough.
You have interesting decoration in your house. It being not there.
So, what does my interior design have to do with my friend's murder?
I'm just, Are you all right, dear? Do you need any help?
I need sleep.
Well, you mind if we come back tomorrow?
Yes, and looks over at the bird that forced his way in. Not that that will stop you.
Great. Then we wish you a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Not much up here. It's like, Peanut. What languages do you speak, Peanut? Let's look.
See.
We have nothing in common apart from common, so that's no good. Okay. It's like quietly whisper in your ear. You got any kind of magic for a situation like this?
I'm not like those other fellows. I'm not gonna use, I guess I could.
There's something else I can do for you.
One last question. Did Denarian seem any different after you came back from your trip? Or did his wife seem any different?
Jealous, as you apparently noticed if you're looking into this.
More jealous. Why?
Well, near as I figure, she thought her husband was cheating and stabbed him.
Was he?
Hell if I know.
Okay.
Doubt it, but certainly not with Clara.
Yeah. Did she really seem like the type to go that far?
Don't know, but apparently.
Okay. Anything else, Peanut?
You don't seem too upset with your friend being murdered.
How exactly would you like me to be behaving right now?
Some emotions are always nice. It's important to embrace your feelings. You can't just, keep this all inside.
Yelling and throwing stuff around, would that help?
If it makes you feel better, you should do it.
It doesn't.
Oh. Then you should do it.
Yeah. Can you leave now?
Fine.
We'll see you tomorrow, right?
Yep, apparently.
All right. We'll be here first thing in the morning. You'll love our friends. They're very nice.
Okay.
Well, Peanut, we've left by this point. I'm not talking to you in this front room.
Okay.
I am none the wiser. Something is wrong here, but just nothing seems to be revealing itself.
Right. That was not a very friendly man.
Yeah, but I don't think that's unusual. To be fair.
So, reminder,
I think we're
you
both
did force your way into his home after dark.
It's only 7 p.m. I think we're kind of expecting whatever is going on here to reveal itself more apparently, but it doesn't seem to be. It's hard to... When you don't have any more additional means to find out these things, it's hard to be for sure.
Yeah. Very frustrating. Yeah. There's definitely something off.
I wonder if it's worth keeping a vigil on these people's homes.
Can I have all four of you make intelligence checks, please?
Oh, God.
Just straight intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprisingly dumb.
Me too. -1. There you go.
Wait. So wait, like
Everybody's
this?
dump stat.
Okay.
I have 11. No, 12. I think.
Oh, +2.
It's not showing up on my screen.
Yeah, my
Apart from me.
That's okay. So what did you all get?
I'm trying to reconnect to Roll20. It's not connected for some reason.
Oh, yeah, mine is also not. Oh, there we
There we
go.
go.
Everyone is there now, yeah.
It's everyone at the same time. So Chestel 9, Peanut 7,
I got a 2.
2 for
No.
Nat
and
20.
Mort with a natural 20 for 21. Okay. So 3 of you, you're lost. You've started to put some pieces together. Not a lot. Mort. There's obviously the connection to the mine that you've already mentioned. And it occurs to you that you still haven't really examined or examined the body of Denarian yet. And you recall when he was being taken away that they were taking him to somebody named Dr. Sweet.
Oh, right.
So that might be it occurs to you that might be a lead that you can follow if you wish.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
So are you doing that right now or before bed or?
I want to investigate the body when the doctor is not in.
Okay.
Because I don't like to talk my way into the morgue. I just like to do my thing as quickly as I can.
Okay. Let's run this then real quick. So
we can speed this up as fast.
Yeah,
as
we'll
you want.
do it pretty quickly. Asking around a little bit, you're eventually led to the office of Dr. Sweet, who is the town doctor. You check the front door, and it is locked. He's apparently gone for the day.
Is there any second story window I could fly up to?
There is not for this particular building.
Is there any window I can thaumaturgy open?
Yes. There's 2 windows in the front, there's 2 windows in the back.
I'll do that.
Okay. Front or back?
Back.
Can you make a stealth check for me, please?
Watch me fail.
So there are, especially with the recent murder, as it's after nightfall, you have seen some town guards walking around. 10. You use the thaumaturgy, and it takes some force to actually do this. And you try to be careful, but the windows do open with a ka-choom against the sides. Wait a moment. You don't hear anyone responding to it immediately.
I'll go in.
Okay. So you fly in through the window. You end up in what looks to be a back office examination room. There's a table for a patient to lie down on, a desk in the corner. There's a couple books that all seem to be related to medical whatever as you're glancing through them. Another shelf with just basic bandages, some herbs to make poultices, a very general practice office. If you leave that room, there's a main front room that has a desk another desk on one side of it, and it's kind of like a waiting area, just a couple chairs around. And then the second room that faces the back, as you open it, it seems to be kind of a storage area. It's a larger open storage, various additional bandages, supplies, whatnot. But there's also a trapdoor in the corner.
That's what I'm gonna go for.
Cool. You open it, and as you go down, this isn't a cold storage cellar like in the previous house. This is the closest thing that this city would have to a morgue. It's more cold storage than anything else. There are 2 tables down here, and on one of them you do see the body of Denarian. There's also some shelves and other things that have potions, vials, other liquids that probably need to be kept cold for whatever reason.
Is there only his body there?
Only his for right now, yes.
I'll start to look for some auspicious, like wounds or entry marks, exit marks, or.
Okay. Can you make another medicine check for me, please?
Yes. I think I'm gonna go full work mode and shift into my more necrotic form, and my eyes start to glow a little bit, So I get to make that check with advantage.
Okay. Yay, shifters.
As 19 plus, it rolled
27.
twice. I don't. Yeah.
You said with
27.
advantage, so that's fine.
Mhm.
A 27. Are you doing a full-on autopsy, cutting it open, or just examining the body?
I'm gonna use my spiritual weapon, and I'm gonna summon a little spectral scalpel,
Okay.
and I'm gonna do the whole shebang, including the skull.
Okay. As you are cutting into the body, at first you start around the knife wounds, around the chest. And nothing seems to be unusual there. In fact, with your experience, this seems to be a very obvious, this was the cause of death. But you're suspicious enough by now that you continue looking and continue working and examining some of the internal organs that appear to be, there's puncture wounds in the lungs and the heart, probably led to a very quick death. But the rest of the internal organs seem to be okay. You do see some defensive wounds around the hands, likely during the struggle when he was killed. And then you make your way up to the head. And as you start cutting around and open the skull, it is empty. The brain cavity is completely empty. And looking a little further, you notice some heavy trauma through the nasal cavity as well. Like something's been ripped through the nose. And about the time that you make that discovery, you hear from upstairs somewhere, "Hello? Is everything all right in here?" And that is where we will pick up next week.
Ooh.
For part 2 of Mind Your Head by Steve Pankotai. Thank you very much again to him for letting us use this lovely adventure. It's been so much fun to run this with you guys. I'm enjoying your characters so much. It's just such a random group, and it's fantastic. So again, this is Mind Your Head by Steve Pankotai. You can find him on Twitter at Stephen Pankotai, StevenPankotai. This work's available on DM's Guild List, as well as several other really well-written, well-done adventures. I'd also like to give a thank you to our players, Chris, Patrick, Shane, and joining us for the first time, Inya. It's so much fun to have you. Also, quick thank you, and I meant to do this at this top, and I forgot. Sorry. Our lovely character art that you've been seeing, character portraits by all our guys, is done by Lance of 20-Sided Adventure Podcast. You can find them on Twitter at 2020SA Podcast. Check them out. They do awesome work. One of their main shows is oh dear, I just blanked on the name. Sorry, Lance. Space Days, I think, and it's a space sci-fi adventure done with D&D rules. It's a lot of fun. So check that out as well. I also happy to announce I'll actually be on another stream, which is so weird to say that I'm guesting on another stream. How did that happen? So I'll be on NBA Bloodsport Arena with the Majestic Goose network of shows tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So really fucking late if you're in Germany, but normal times if you're in the States. So yeah. I'll get to play on a stream again. Woo! So yeah, come check them out. Again, that's over on the Majestic Goose Twitch channel. Thanks again to our players. Thank you again to Steven. And we will be back next week, 6 p.m. Central European time for part 2 of Mind Your Head. Take care of yourselves and tell more stories. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.